and see
Yeah,
if
and
we
also I
can
need a link.
a link to what?
The stream. Actually, wait,
Why?
I'm already logged in.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
Are we live?
Duh.
It
Are
doesn't.
we
I can't
live?
see anything on the stream. Oh, we're live. This is so professional. This is
What?
so professional.
We are
Hello.
live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Face to Face Tangent Podcast. I should have adjusted my camera before all this began. Now I look like really big. Whatever. I'll fix it later.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the second episode of Face to Face Tangent Podcast. We're doing this one at the end of August. That's why the episode's called Another August.
Mm-hmm.
Today we are going to take a little bit of a break from the doom and gloom of last episode with politics and all that. We might talk a little bit about it just because some stuff's happening with stuff like the post office and such, which we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to talk today about some other stuff, and one of them that I'd like to start off with is, of course, going back to school. So my school has started. Ejon starts in a week, of course.
I started, yeah.
It's the end of August. My classes have started,
Mm-hmm.
and I signed up. UNF has classes where you sign up for your summer and fall term at the same time in spring. So I signed up for 5 classes this semester. I've got 3 management classes, which is my major. I've got a philosophy class and a diversity credit class, which is like human antiquity and cultures or something like that. It's a decent class.
Mm-hmm.
And all my classes got moved to remote learning because 2 of them were originally online, which were the 2 electives.
Wait,
But all
before they were
3
just online?
Yeah, those 2 I took originally as online classes. But my 3
Okay.
face-to-face core major classes all got moved to remote, which means that's all online. So I don't have to go to campus, which is nice because it means I get to go to bed at 3 a.m. and wake up at 11 and be like, oh, cool, time for class. But even then, that doesn't matter because all 3 of those classes had class times. One starts at 1:30, goes to 2:45, 3 o'clock to 3:30, and then the last one ends at 5 something. But looking through the syllabus of all of them, they're all asynchronous. Every single one of them. They're just here's your work. Here's your work Monday morning. It's due next Sunday at midnight. And I'm like, oh, that means I
That's
get
the
all my
best
work
part.
done in the first 2 days of the week and be done, like I am right now. I got almost all my work done Monday, Tuesday. I had one thing left for Wednesday morning. Then after that, I was like, I gotta sit back for the rest of the week and do nothing. I mean, I could work ahead, but I enjoy this. I'm gonna enjoy just, working 9 hours for 2 days a week, and then just be and done. That's it. And it's 5 classes, which is a lot. But it's so great. But
If it's all asynchronous, why not?
yeah. But what about you? Are you classes? You're staying in Jack, so I assume that they're online.
Yeah, so 2 of them are synchronous, and it has a lab, which is BlendFlex. So that means if I really wanted to, once a week or one certain time a month, I could actually come to campus, but why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I have to get up at 8:30 just so I can go to a Zoom lecture for one class, and then another one at 1:30 in the afternoon. But they're Monday and Wednesday, and then one of them's on Friday. So it's not great, but it's not terrible because the rest of the other classes I have are asynchronous. So, and I have my job, which is remote.
Yeah.
So on top of all that, it's I can. Before I was more worried about, oh no, I have to work, do school throughout the everyday. Now I can just do my classes and my job between 8:30 to 3:30, and the rest of the week is for me to do homework or for me to do whatever I want. So I like it.
Yeah, it's nice. My brother, of course, he's at high school. He took the option to stay online instead of going back, for fear of COVID and all that. And
So you can choose to do that.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
a...
and one good thing is this is different than usual online schooling. He has the option to go back, at the end of every quarter. So say this blows over by Christmas or whatever, he could choose to start going back in the new year and all that. So that's better than just signing up for a full year of online schooling, because he prefers being there, but he's got to wake up at 7:15, so it sucks.
Question: so you have to decide to come in at a certain quarter. You can't just like, hey, you know what? Today I want to come in.
Yeah, you've got to. From what we believe, there wasn't a huge amount of information out on it released by the district, but you've got to like say in advance by a few weeks, like, hey, I'm coming back to actual like face-to-face schooling next quarter.
Dang.
So, yeah. So even if this blows over tomorrow, like it's some miracle, he'll have to wait till like what, October to come back.
Well, on top of that, it's just like you can't just decide, you know what, I want to come in now. It's not like you have full freedom. Because what happens if you decide, I feel safe today, but then it wasn't a great time to come in and I committed?
Yeah, well, a lot of his classes actually didn't even have anything. I mean, like, he logged on this morning while I was still asleep at 7:15. I wake up usually around, like, 11, 10:30-ish. And he logged on, and, like, only 2 of his classes even had anything going on. Most of the classes were like, hey, we had no time to set this up. Just click this, like, attendance sheet if you were here. But 2 of the classes had lectures, and it was they're on Microsoft Teams, not on Zoom or anything. So he went in the lectures. Most of them were just like, "Hey, here's the syllabus. I'm going to read it to you. Bye." He got done with school like 1:20 after a 20-minute lecture by his last period. So if that keeps up, he won't be doing too much, but he still has to go 5 days a week. So it takes most of his day.
Okay, so it's not great. But...
Yeah, I feel like you'll see a huge drop off in grades this semester. Really, like a lot of people aren't good at online schooling. Thankfully,
honestly,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just feel like how I feel in just this year in general, it's gonna be a rough one, which is already evident. But I think what makes it more clear is that you got a lot of people who don't want to be in school. You got a lot of people who are struggling in school. And I feel like if you're in college, you're going to get by, but it's not going to be fun. If you're in school, like public school, or even just regular private school, it is...
They don't have
it's going to kneecap you.
Or know-how. Like, my professors I'm taking right now, they at least know how to use Canvas. They've set it up to where, like, you have to do this work and then that work, and then, it's all these quizzes, and... Only 2 out of the 5 of my classes have set up any protection for exams, like cheating protection, which is Lockdown Browser, which doesn't even stop you from.
I hate Lockdown Browser.
Doesn't even stop you from getting your phone or your laptop out. At least from what
actually
I know.
You can, but there's only one way it will stop you, because here's the thing I hate about Lockdown Browser. In the source code, it basically makes it where anything that is connected to your Wi-Fi network, if it deems it as cheating, because it connects to your Wi-Fi router. It's basically like spyware, so it checks through your entire network. And if you're connected to Wi-Fi and it thinks that you're cheating based off of that, it validates it. So the only way for you to cheat, which is easy, is just mobile data.
Yeah, but I'll take exams while my family's here. Like, they'll be on their own computers or on their phones, so it'll invalidate me for them doing stuff? Christ.
Maybe.
That's going to be a conversation with my professor if that happens. That would suck. Oh.
I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that's what it does to check the Wi-Fi, because it scans it for every person.
I mean, like,
and the thing that I don't like is it collects the data, and I have no idea what they do with it, and I'm forced to do it otherwise.
I would say proctoring. Like, I had an online class 2 semesters ago. What's it called? Which was spring when things got canceled. One of my professors used a proctoring service. And it was a hassle to get through. Like, you had to provide a picture of your photo ID. You had to, show everything, your entire room to the webcam. And there was these, like, Indian people who barely spoke English. But, like, at least when the exam happened, they were like, okay, we've seen everything you have. We're going to go now. Tell us when you're done. And then they'd maybe just peek at you with your, like, webcam on every once in a while. And the only shitty rules were, like, if you get up, we fail you. Like, if you even stand up from your chair. So it's like, your exam's 2 hours, you better use the bathroom already, which sucks. But I'd say it's better than Lockdown Browser, because, like, hearing that about Lockdown Browser, it scares me, honestly.
Well, the thing is, Letdown Browser does the same thing. Like, it's still a Proctor Hub. Like, you have to show... Like, it's not just one thing. You like, either or. You can do the same Proctor Hub where you have to show your desk, show what's around you, so that way you're not cheating. And then you have to be sitting there. It checks your Wi-Fi network. And you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So you get everything, the whole package, proctor exam included.
Thankfully, I've gotten used to online classes a little bit because I've had them since spring. But I know a lot of my friends at UNF, like they like most of their classes just kind of ended in spring. Like a few of mine did. Like the professor was like, okay, email me your final essay, and that's the final grade. I'm canceling all other assignments, something like that. But a few of mine just kept actually trying to teach. And then I took a class over the summer, and that really helped me. And now doing this, it's not that bad. Like, I know how to navigate everything, I know how to do it. But a lot of them were like, I got a text message from a guy I was in a group with in spring. I guess he still had my number saved. He was like, hey, Jeff, I know you're in the same, operations management class as me. How do we buy the book? I can't understand where to go or like what to click. And I'm like, so you're gonna need to go here in Canvas. You're gonna click this link and then go to your school email and find the email that says full access. And you need to go into there and pay like $75. Then you're gonna need to wait 2 days for them to send you an access code. Then go back to Canvas, go to My Lab and Mastering, press the access code button, put the code in, hope it works, and then you might have access. But then I told him, for me, because I have a little story about that, I was for one of my classes I have to do My Lab, which it sucks, honestly. I hate using it. But I have homework on there. I had to go on there, and there were 2 assignments. This is a management class. So one of them was like, oh, this is to see if you read. You're debating someone who says free trade is bad. Choose arguments that make free trade look good. And it was this little simulation thing with question and answer. I passed it pretty well. The other one was this video where you had to watch like a 6-minute video about the earthquake in Japan. I think it was in 2016.
Oh, Fukushima.
Yeah. And how the interconnectivity of the world, like the globalization of the world, helped them come back faster because they had so many different connections that could come in and help them. And I watched the video, and then next to it there was just blank nothingness, but it said question 1 of 5. And I'm like, okay, is it on the next page? I press next, and next just grays out. And it's and the little thing appears on the bottom left, and it says JavaScript void 0. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good. So I try for a little while, refresh the page, whatever. Try for like 20 minutes, doesn't work. I get in contact with Pearson support, and they're like, we don't know how you got that. What browser are you on? I'm like, I'm on Chrome. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go into your instructor's account and try to see if it works for me. Then they send me a screenshot going, it works for me. What are you doing? And then I eventually just tried Internet Explorer, but unfortunately, Canvas doesn't support Internet Explorer. That's something I didn't know. So I go download Microsoft Edge, which was annoying, go through it, go into Canvas, and it works. So maybe one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 extensions I have on Chrome broke it. I tried turning them off, but some of them cannot be turned off.
That would do it, because Edge is basically, it's based on Chrome a lot. It's like Chrome with a Microsoft wrapper.
Yeah, so, I just had a blank install of Edge, so if there's ever a problem with that, I'll just reinstall it. Oh, I see you put some Valhalla music in the jukebox. Nice. What's it called though? There's a guy talking at the end here. Let's go to the next one. Bro, Donkey Kong rap? I love the Donkey Kong rap. Here we go. We're finally here. Listen. Donkey Kong rap might be the thing at the end of the episode that I'll possibly sing. Who knows? Donkey Kong rap is an MVP song. Anyhow, so school stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about this right here, which is a removable hard drive I got. It's a terabyte hard drive because I didn't want to have to rebuild the hard drive in my computer, and this was on sale for like $40, I believe. So it's real good. I filled it up maybe like 200 gigabytes at this point, and I was cleaning my computer, and I went from like 91 gigabytes free on my computer of like 900 something in total to like 150 free. So I cleared a lot of space, you know.
Okay.
And I was clearing things out, you know, moving all my old pictures, my entire music library over to this and everything. And I was trying to look why my Steam apps, like where all the Steam games are, was so big. And a few of the games there are big. But I was going through just random games that I had deleted, and one of them, Kenshi, which I think I've talked about like a year and a half ago.
Oh yeah,
Fun game.
I remember that.
Yeah. I stopped playing it like, you know, about a year ago because I just did everything. I go into it and it's 50 gigabytes, and I have uninstalled the game. Like there's no game data, like textures left. I go into it and my saves are 50 gigabytes in size. I don't know how or why that's possible, because I had maybe like 100 something saves in total. But like if I compare the save size to something like, I don't know, Skyrim, where saves are like maybe like a kilobyte or two, these saves were like, you know, a gigabyte, like 1 or 2 gigabytes each, and it was like, how? And I just clear that out, and I get 50 gigabytes or more space just randomly on my computer, and that, you know, spring cleaning, people. It's not spring anymore, but cleaning. Do it. It's important, and especially, you know, getting a removable hard drive like it's, or at least upgrading your storage space. It's a really good idea, personally.
You know, honestly, what happened during the pandemic is that I personally made it upon myself to get like extra RAM, because I knew when I saw things were going the way they were, I was like, you know what? An extra 16 gigabytes wouldn't hurt me. Just in the event I need to have like a Zoom call while I'm doing other things. So it was a great time to upgrade, but it's a lot harder, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that honestly, pandemic. I think the one thing that I do wish I had bought, which I don't blame myself, is getting a Nintendo Switch, because before it was like you could possibly get a Nintendo Switch, but it was hard. Now it's just impossible. You just can't buy one. It's kind of like
Animal Crossing, yeah.
I just don't understand how. Like, I understand that maybe they're just trying to be cost efficient, but there's more people who would love to buy it, like me.
I mean,
but you know,
when I got my Switch, like a few weeks after it came out, it was a present. But me and my brother were going out to try to find one, because my dad was like, "Hey, they're literally sold out across the city. I cannot find that. It's a gift. So if you can go find where one is, I'll buy it for you." So me and my brother, you know, go online and start looking up where to buy one, and we see there's like 3 in stock at a like GameStop, like across town. I'm talking like halfway to St. Augustine. And we start driving out there. It takes us, you know, an hour to drive out there. We get there, and the guy's like, "Oh, sorry, some guy just came by and bought all 15 Switches that we had left, like literally 2 minutes ago. Sorry." And I'm like, but I was like, "But I reserved mine in advance." He's like, the company policy is that if someone comes in and offers money for something that's been reserved, we have to give it to them." And I'm like, "Goddamn scalpers." Because that guy probably went out there, like, right outside the store and was like, "Okay, I'll sell you a Switch for, like, you know, $50 profit, you know? Or maybe even higher, you know?"
But like, "I'll sell it to you for 400. Let's go."
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the pure price we're getting that high, because, like, Nintendo lives off that sort of, you know, scarcity to generate hype and news. Because, like...
Which I don't get.
Well,
I really don't understand.
Free advertising almost. Like, you would see articles in like gaming websites or even like regular newspapers about like the shortage of Switches and how everyone's going out to buy one. And then that might you know, hit that thing in people's minds where like, "Oh, I want one of those because everyone else is getting one," you know, that sort of thing. And it definitely does generate some sort of like, it's like an analogy would be like, look at Smash Bros. Hype. It's almost the same thing, you know? Like, when Nintendo is like, "Oh, we have 5 more characters coming out for Smash," people are like, "Oh, I wonder what those are. It could be anything." And their imagination goes wild, just imagining, like, whatever they want. And when Nintendo comes out with a new console, it's like, "Here's the Switch. There's only 6 copies." And people are like, "Oh, I wonder what kind of games are on there. That'd be so fun. It's a cool new console." And they all rush out to try to buy it. Well, if they'd be like, "Here's 6,000 copies," be like, I'll wait till it goes on price sale.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of, you know what it is? It's like, it's worse than Supreme, shirts,
It's similar.
because their whole thing is like generate off the hype of the product so they can make new product because the brand is what matters. But for a Switch, it makes less sense to me because it's not a product that you can just like, hey, we're just gonna like switch up the Switch. We're gonna add extra controllers. We're going to, or we're gonna make a new skin,
Well,
and that'll be
the
fine
Joy-Cons were
if they
pretty
did that.
shitty, so you'd probably need to replace them. Like my Joy-Cons suck because I broke them
But
on
that's the
Breath of
thing.
the Wild.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like they'll give you the accessories. I think the accessories are pretty easy to come by, or at least they're not as hard as the actual console.
How expensive?
I would assume, like the upsell.
How
but-
expensive are Joy-Cons? Joy-Cons
I'm
are
gonna say, like, what-
$50 each.
Yeah, for a pair
No, each.
each,
Each.
like per
I'm on-
Joy-Con.
I'm on Amazon right now, and a Joy-Con used, a pair, is $112.
The hell?
Can I pull this up?
Okay, but tell
Look
me
at-
this.
Look,
Does,
oh, no,
maybe
you can't see
maybe
it. Here, let me screen share this. This is literally.
I just don't understand. Does Nintendo not want the
Look at
money
that.
sometimes?
Look at that, $112. I mean, there's some cheaper off brands here, for 32, or there's some for 66, but still, that's like huge. How much does like PS4 controller? How much do those cost? Huh?
I feel like those are easy to come by now because PlayStation is the biggest one.
No, I just show me the price. I don't care about. Is that that looks weird. Like
That's a wired DualShock 4.
60.
Boom! You can buy it right now.
Yeah, or like
You
there's
can buy it
cheaper
right
versions
now.
as well. I mean, look, there's a wireless one with a cable for $31. That's way cheaper compared to this, honestly.
And you know the good thing about the DualShock? You can plug it into your normal PC. You
Yeah.
can use your normal PC
And like you
and
can
get.
stream PS4 games onto your PC, and yet Nintendo will never do anything like that ever.
And on top of that, they make they do so much scarcity that you can't even buy the accessories without going through a third party, and it's kind of dumb because you know how like Nintendo gets mad at people, or remember in the past when they would just outright ban you or like block you or hammer you down legal fees if you decide to stream their games.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the same problem I have with them that is going on because they're leaving people worse off by just not having enough in stock to artificially inflate the price. Like their customers are suffering because of how they're trying to make money.
I feel like Nintendo fans are kind of masochists, though. I think they like
Yeah.
fully expect this and want this. Like, if you did this to like PS4 or Xbox fans, there'd be outrage.
Xbox fans was just like,
Nintendo fans
yeah, all
are
right,
so
Sony.
used to the archaic, like boomer ways of Nintendo. Like, Nintendo took them years to go, oh, Xbox Live, they make money off that. Let's do that too, but make it terrible as well. And then Nintendo's like, maybe we should try. Like, Breath of the Wild made money. Maybe we should try doing something different with our series. Nah, just keep putting out the same game we've made for 20 years. They'll buy it up. Like, Nintendo is like a lot of, I think, wasted potential. A lot of the times, honestly. And people
I
just
just-
give them the okay because they're Nintendo, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I'd say that. I just feel it's annoying because they have a monopoly. They are the only ones that can sell Nintendo games on only Nintendo systems. They own the whole vertical. It sucks.
And like a lot of people, especially older people, when they hear video games, they think Nintendo. They think Mario. They think
Nah,
something like
they think the
that.
PlayStation. They think
Really?
PlayStation and Mario. Yeah.
If I went to
Look
my
up-
like grandmother and said, "What video games do you know?" She'd say Pac-Man and probably Mario, because
Yeah.
that's the stuff that when she was 30 was around.
Mhm.
God, imagine being old.
I
I'm
don't know, I
20
guess-
and I feel old. But like looking at my my great grandma, she was 93 when she died. Imagine being 93. It's like, what? You've done everything. What do you have to live for? It's like, I mean, yeah, like right, like near the end, she was like, yeah, I'm just expecting to die like any day now. It's like I'm ready.
Dang.
My husband's been dead for like 40 years. I'm good to go. But it's like I already feel like I've spent so much time like living and being on Earth that like 50, 60, 70 more years, this is gonna feel weird.
I don't know, man. I feel like I haven't lived enough. I feel like I can go for a little bit more.
Well, I'm not saying like, okay, life's over, time to die. I'm saying
no, but
yeah.
But I feel like what would make me feel ready to like go if I went around the world. Like I went to the places I thought I would never like, and I went to the places that I thought I would like. And then at the end of it, I can say like, I've seen all what the world has. That would be interesting. Or if I became really rich and then became really poor, that'd be really interesting. Because then I can see everything around that side.
Dramatic life that way,
Yeah. It's like, congratulations, you won big on this business, but now, oops, you lost all.
Yeah, it's like you start from here, go all the way up, back down, and then if this was a real drama, you would either die halfway up, like trying to go back up, or you'd reach the plateau and then have the happy book epilogue, and then you die instantly.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Do you want the happy ending, or do you want the man trying to reclaim his life tragedy ending? One or the other. Mm-hmm. That'd be a good way to go.
Yeah. I think that the latter one is more interesting. Than just like, oh, I accomplished everything I want. Close the book. But I feel like once you close that book, it's like, okay, what now? It's like, I guess I'm waiting to die. It's like, really? Dang.
I mean, yeah, there's more. Like when you're like 90, like unless you have something you're really trying to do in life, I guess you're just waiting to die. It's like you can't do anything anymore. Like you're so old and frail. It's not like you can go explore the world. You're not like youthful like us anymore. You're just so old that you have to be cared for by like your family or people hired to care for you. It's like that must suck.
Well, I think it's the one thing that you can do. You can be the wise old person who can just be like. You
can be the wise old mentor that dies a third way into the movie to give the protagonist fuel to keep going. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or that's one way. I was just thinking, like, Master Oogway is like,
so you can be Uncle Iroh? Bruh, sign me up. I'll do that right now.
Hey, honestly, Uncle Iroh is the way you want to go out. It's like you went out like a G, and after that you died. It's like
apparently, according to like the Avatar comic or something like that, Iroh doesn't even like die. He just like feels that his death is approaching like years later, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go ascend to the spirit world. He just goes out in the woods, becomes Buddha, and just ascends to the spirit world, and then in the spirit world sets up his tea shop again. And then later in like Legend of Korra, she like shows up in the spirit world. There's like Ko the face stealer and all that shit, and then there's just Iroh in one little pocket, like, hello, would you like some tea? And it's cool. So Iroh's like nice. My favorite character of Avatar. Did you hear? Side tangent. The
creator of Avatar left.
Yeah, the two creators of Avatar left the live action production, and it's like, ooh, I didn't have high hopes of that to begin with, but now it's like you made the creators leave. Like, what the hell did you do, Netflix?
To be honest, the more this pandemic goes on, the more I'm like, I don't really like Netflix now. I don't see anything that I actually want that Netflix has that they created.
They have a few good originals, like Castlevania and such are good, but they don't really create them.
They don't double down.
Host them, like they fund them, But even then, like Netflix, I think has an aversion to like quality content sometimes. Like any original that isn't like BoJack Horseman, they just like shoot like 2 seasons in. It's like, oh, you're a pretty successful original. People like you. Die. Big Mouth season 8. Take my money. It's like, I
just don't. I can't get through Big Mouth because of that art style. It's really the art style that kills me. Those eyes are terrible, and the comedy. Look, sometimes the comedy is like a hit, but most of the times I just don't get the references, and I don't really know who they're trying to pander or like who's their audience, I just don't think it's me. I just don't know why. Because
so,
like,
oh, sorry, go ahead. So go ahead.
no, it's just like you know that who's that black ghost in the beginning of the. There's a ghost of a black guy who sounds like he's like a jazz artist or something in Big Mouth.
I've never watched the show. I mean, I've seen clips, but I've never watched a full episode.
Okay, so basically there's this guy. Maybe I should just type it out. Big Mouth. All right. Okay. So, okay, Guy Blitzerian. Is that his name? No, that can't be it. Maybe I should just go on the Big Mouth wiki. Oh my goodness. Ugh.
We got a fan over here.
Okay. Yeah, I got to go to the. Okay. Oh yeah, Duke Ellington. There we go.
Duke Ellington. I know that name.
Not me, man. I didn't understand that name.
I remember I went to like a jazz museum when I was in like middle school on a field trip. Yeah, this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he died in 19.
They played some of his music. It was pretty good, honestly. I liked it.
I just didn't understand, like, why was he in the show? Like, or that's the thing. 1994, pianist and composer. I'm not saying that he wasn't good, but in my eyes, I was just kind of thinking.
Well, he's not from he died in the 90s. He was born in 1899.
No, he died in the 70s.
He was born in 1899, so he's early 20th centuries or 20th century. Sorry.
So that's what I was thinking. Like, why would that guy be in the? It's like out of all the references or people.
Jazz musician, so I don't know.
Yeah, but for a kid, like as the ghost, I'm not saying that you can't have an old guy, but it's not someone who's like, I would say overtly famous.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, it feels like you have
to jazz or at least music history and understand who the hell he even is.
Yeah, and I mean the character is interesting, but what I'm trying to make a point here is that I didn't understand who they were going for, and I just don't think it was me. Maybe it was like if I had an older brother, or if I had if I had a mom who knew about Duke Ellington or like really cared about that music. But that's the thing. I feel like the age group is just so high that it just doesn't appeal to me.
But it's a kid. But it's a show about like little kids. Like I thought that was like I thought younger people.
I feel like it's kind of one of those things where. No, I thought it was more like a reflection of like how older people might go through kids content or like cartoons like Family Guy, or in a sense to
I wouldn't say Family
kind of
Guy
recap
is kids content personally. That's me.
Fair enough, but what I'm trying to say is like it's not kids content, but it's adult content in the cartoons, in which they recontextualize their past and the present through the lens and the art style of cartoons.
Maybe, but from what I've heard about Big Mouth, like I said, I could be completely wrong here. I've just seen things online. Mm-hmm. Like it does have this like sex education kind of spin to it as well, from what I've heard, which would make sense if you're targeting younger people. Like older people, if they're 30, trying to think back on their teenage years, they already know that,
Yeah, that's the point. Like they already know it, but they're kind of like making jabs of the process of growing up, or recontextualizing what it was for them. It wasn't like it's a good example. Netflix has another thing where it's called Sex Education, and it's really just about like British kids, getting in tune about sex and in their school. But that was a lot more addressed to younger crowds than I would say Big Mouth at least felt like. Because when I looked at Big Mouth, it just felt awkward and just weird looking at it. But when I look at Sex Education, it's like, okay, the drama's interesting, the premise is pretty good. I kind of want to find more about this, and on the way, I'm learning, other things about sex education, just the jokes and the fun that they're having with it. So that's what I feel like made it a bit different for me. Anyway, I don't know how I got the Big Mouth.
Speaking of Netflix and children, have you seen the controversy around Netflix that popped up recently?
I heard something off of Watch about like pedophiles.
Yeah, so Netflix released this new movie. It's I believe it's originally French, but they put I think they either subtitled or dubbed it, whatever. They brought it over to America, America, the English speaking market, I should say. And it's called Cuties. Here, I'll screen. Probably shouldn't turn Discord thing off like that. So I screen share with you. And you're about to see before the viewers what the poster for it looks like. So these are 11-year-olds, mind you. And if we look at the description of the show, Cuties. Amy, 11, becomes fascinated with a twerking dance crew. Hoping to join them, she starts to explore her femininity, defying her family's, and then it says like wishes. And this is the cover.
This is the same thing. Oh my god. You know what? This reminds me of something else, but I just don't get it. I don't get it. Is this? I remember Netflix on their show where it was like, what was it, Black AF? I can't even remember. Or what? There's some other like show, but basically there's one scene about like an 11-year-old or 12-year-old who was with her friends, and they were on TikTok making a video of them twerking, and I was just kind of, the first thing I thought was like, I was just sad, and when I'm seeing this is just sad too. This is pedo bait. This is jail bait. And on top of that, it's like, why would they make this? And why? Not even so much that, but it's just the thing that just clarifies what I'm seeing here is the description. Getting in touch with her femininity. 11 years old.
It's like, I don't think
it's not even
should be attached to 11-year-olds twerking. Like, ugh.
It's not even like Bitmouth, where at least it was Big Mouth. It's like, okay, it's cartoon. This is like real kids. It's like a real person.
And
it was
apparently the person who created they're French. They're Senegalese. They're French Senegalese. It was based on their own experience in that industry, and it's like an autobiographical thing. But one thing that should be noted is what I showed you was the American cover. The original French cover, if I can find it. Where is it? It's way different. There it is. It has both side by side. It's really small. Let me see that. Then screen share again, and then do window capture. So as we can see, on the left is the American cover, one they specifically changed to hit the American market, and the right is the original French cover, where it's just the girls going out shopping, and stuff like that. Shit's wild.
America's a shithole. Why? Why?
I don't know why. Apparently, Netflix thinks that the American market has more pedophiles in it. I don't know. Or
there's multiple things wrong here. If that is the case, why would you want to advertise that?
The right one, as you can see, it's Sundance and all. So that was for like film festivals. That was the cover for that. The right one is when Netflix picked it up. So Netflix took this cover and went, no, this isn't good enough. Put the 11-year-olds in like, skimpy like twerking outfits on the cover and make the description about exploring femininity or shit like that through twerking.
This is just some commercialism. This is commodifying the sexuality of 11-year-old prepubescent children. Commodifying the sexuality of children for pedophile. Or even if it wasn't for pedophiles. And this was just like, okay, we're going to be doing this just for a wider audience. What if this is a wider audience, what if like I have like a little brother who's scrolling down and he sees this? Or like a little sister? What kind of example that is, man?
I should also mention that the movie isn't released yet in the West or whatever, but it's rated TV MA, mature. which means it's got to have some stuff in it.
TVMA?
MA. Yeah. Even worse. And with that kind of cover, I think that they knew who they were targeting. Like, they had to, you know?
I gotta check. I gotta see.
Because, like, an autobiographical work by this woman about her, like, life in that industry, I think could have been okay. But with this cover and rated MA, and apparently, from what I can tell, it's making some changes. Like, they're changing it to target a certain audience for money. And that's like, damn, Netflix, you're really going to try to target pedophiles? Like, sheesh. Oh, objection. Hold it. Objection. Hold it. Hold it. Objection. Hold it. Hold it. Take that. What's up? Wait, wrong one. Wrong one. I meant this one. Disregard that song. There we go. That's the right one. That's the right Ace of Cardi music. So while I think Ejon's frozen, I'm gonna talk a little bit. Look at him. Look at him frozen over there. I'm gonna talk a little bit about this. So my personal thoughts on this. Honestly, I didn't think a company like Netflix would try to make money from this like unethical of a source, and they've apologized, thankfully, and I think they're not gonna bring it over. But calling the movie like, well, it's called Cuties because it's I think a pretty decent direct translation from French. I don't know.
Okay, I'm back. I can see you.
Hi. I was just talking about my personal thoughts about this. Which is from what I know, Netflix has apologized and said that they're not bringing this movie over. But like to do something like this and think it'd be okay, they must have brought it over because they thought it could make money, and they specifically changed the cover to try to increase revenue, which means that they would be. Oh, why the music is so much quieter? Did it end? Oh, it ended. Okay.
Yeah.
They must have thought that it would increase their revenue, which means that they must have had a target audience in their mind, which means Netflix probably knew people like pedophiles would watch it with that cover and that rating and that description. They must have known some people were gonna, look at it that way.
There is no doubt in my mind that was kind of like what they're going for. I don't see how it would make any sense without it. My question is just why, It's like if you know what you're doing here, all this is likely going to be the case, but why would you want to target that? Why?
Money, I guess. I don't know.
At what cost? At what cost, guys? Like, just because it makes money doesn't mean like, oh yeah, we're going to do it.
Is like staggering. I mean, the story broke like earlier today, but I bet you in the coming days there's gonna be like news coverage on this, because people like, who the fuck supports pedophiles? Honestly, besides pedophiles,
Like, I feel like it sucks about this. It sucks because besides complaining, there's nothing we can really do about what Netflix decides to put on and on.
I mean, that's true. But
like, it'd be nice. Really? It'd be nice if but this is the thing. It's like you can't decide what they're going to do. We just have to accept it and pay them the $15 or the $20.
That's a valid option. If you feel this violates your conscience that much, you could always. Well, you could possibly pirate. I'm not advocating anything right now. Don't sue me.
We're not.
We're just saying that
you should pirate.
Have the option. We're not advocating for it.
We're just saying civil disobedience is a political tool to enact change in a system that you feel like is immoral.
Choice. You could boycott Netflix.
Boycotts are a
attempt
political
to find
choice
their
as well.
goods through competitors. There you go. Legal.
Yeah. That's the normal stuff.
Exactly what we're saying.
We're saying that you can boycott. Civil disobedience is also an option.
But you can't go to Kiss Anime anymore. Press F.
What are you talking about?
Kiss Anime is dead.
Is dead?
The FBI found them, and like they found the people hosting it, and like arrested them, I believe. Like the server is like the site's completely down, and it will be permanently down. From what I know, I just heard that they got
no
arrested.
way.
I didn't actually
It's been a decade, man. A whole decade.
You're
say that they got him.
Providing fans of latest anime and manga, beloved pirating sites Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga have been shut down permanently. Despite navigating piracy laws to loyally serve a deep community for nearly a decade, the sites were finally hit by a stricter piracy law from Japan. Oh shit! That means other sites like that are going to get shot down. The Japanese are coming. Like they've been dodging American bullets for so long. They didn't think the Japanese would shoot them from like the back. Oh no! Fuck.
Dude, Kiss Cartoon's gonna be gone. That means you can't watch anything from like Americans.
Actually, I'll just screen share the site I'm reading this from.
Is it Hypebeast?
Yeah, Hypebeast. That's what I'm making. Here, I'll put it on stream as well. Yeah.
Okay.
News of closure first came on the Kiss Anime subreddit August 14th, and official confirmation on the Kiss Anime Discord from the official support team. All files are taken down, and copyright owners Kissmon Kiss Anime will be closed forever. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the years. Back in June, Japan's parliament proposed a revised copyright law to punish those who knowingly downloaded, illegally uploaded, or pirated manga, magazines, or academic works. As the law will surely affect other sites, subscription services like Crunchyroll, Funimation, and Netflix that support creators and distributors are legal alternatives to those looking for their anime and manga fix. Damn! So other sites are probably going to start going down soon.
Yeah, but you know what this means? They're just going to go more underground. Before you could do it in the open, but now they're just going to make it smaller like they used to be.
Back to like real torrent sites, yeah, not like these streaming sites, yeah.
Back to the 90s, you know? Unfortunately.
That's going to suck.
Yeah, you know, I think it's inevitable, I guess, but honestly, I think the thing that sucks about it, honestly, is that the pirating sites were actually a service for a lot of things. Like, if you really wanted to watch a show that you wanted to try out, but you didn't want to buy like 3 services, now you gotta have to.
That's one thing. Like for example, Funimation. What's it called? They offer like free episodes for at least dubs, because I don't watch subs. Like for like Mob Psych or whatever, for the second season, they offer like the first like 6 or 7 episodes, or 8 maybe, and then like if you want to watch the rest, pay us. And it's sort of this like little free trial thing, but like you can only watch so many free per day, I think, or something. I don't know. It's nice at least, but like it gets on my issue with these like streaming services. They just don't have many features that I like, you know? I wish I could, subscribe to like certain animes and get notifications of when new ones come out, or follow studios. Directors or studios and stuff like that. But like Kiss Anime had like the exact same features as like most streaming sites, and
better.
Yeah, better in some regards. Yeah, because you had multiple servers, like all that sort of stuff.
I mean, there's whole projects dedicated to pirate streaming, like anime, like with a Y, the anime app. That one's really good because you have arguably a better mobile service that was made for free. That on top of that, you could talk to the developer and ask them to do certain like features and requests through like a voting system. Can't do that with Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Can't ask them like, hey, can you please do this?
One thing that's good about these pirating sites, something that I'd like is like the ability to download episodes. Because I like to get my laptop over here, and I've got this HDMI cord, and I like to watch, anime with my dad or mom or whatever from time to time. Like, I wanted to, we were watching Dr. Stone, and it's like I couldn't find anywhere legally to download it, because I wanted to get the files, put them on my computer, and then stream them via the HDMI cord onto the TV so we could watch it big screen. And like, I guess I could have hooked up a computer and just done it through there, but like, I just want to own the files. I'm very big on that. Like, I own every single piece of music that I own in this little brick here, because I like physically owning it, like either in MP3 format or my giant collection of CDs and albums over there. I just enjoy owning things. But streaming services
having control of your data.
Yeah. Like if I wanted to download Castlevania, like from Netflix, I'd have to go to some pirating site to try to rip the files from somewhere because Netflix doesn't let me.
Yeah, because the only way you can do it is by DRM on your phone, and then it automatically deletes after 30 days.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, if you have a Netflix account, you can download it on your phone, and then you're good for the next 30 days. But after that, it goes away, there's might be other controls. But that's annoying, that's for sure. Definitely. Let me move this down. You can always...
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem, and I feel like pirating sites, they aren't extremely ethical, but, like, I feel like they're a good way to let industries know that they're not doing a good enough job. Like, if I'm supposed to buy all these separate services, like Crunchyroll, Funimation, Netflix, and others, to get everything I want, that's a big cost monthly, especially for young people like us, who don't have a huge amount of income.
Who are their main consumers, really?
Yeah, honestly, like their age demographics are probably like 15 to like 25 are probably their biggest, and that people we don't have
35,
much money at this age. I don't know many 35-year-olds who watch anime, but maybe that's the people who thought, this new show like Cowboy Bebop's going on.
They're the boomers who like still hold service, like can kind of like not so much keep up to new stuff, but mostly to have access to their older stuff.
Yeah.
I would assume if you're at that age, though, you probably wouldn't be streaming. You're just going to buy the CD, the DVD.
Yeah.
The thing is, I would actually be fine. I would actually be totally okay with the whole, pirating's wrong. If you had easy access to get DVDs, like to buy them, or like if they were just available, like, yeah, we have Saint Seiya. Like, you can buy it off of, or not even that, but like if you had the same amount per season, like, hey guys, we have it for stream, but every month, or not every month, but like every season, at the end of the season, all the anime that was up is going to be, on DVD that you can easily buy.
Or like, for example, Dr. Stone, like an anime that I like quite a lot. Like, Dr. Stone Volume 1, let's see, the Blu-ray edition here is $50.
Oh yeah, like, that's too expensive.
Oh,
it's like,
Jesus, that's a huge
that should be no more than $20, honestly.
And like some come in multiple parts. It's like Mob Psycho 2, something I'd love to physically own. Like Mob Psycho season 1 and 2, because it's an amazing show. Go watch Mob Psycho if you haven't seen it. I believe it's on Netflix. Really good. I'd highly recommend it. Good show.
Yeah.
But the Blu-ray is $54, and it's like, damn, that's a lot of money. I could buy like
it's a good show, but it's not that good, you know? Like, I could buy the new game.
I paid $54 for like a special edition case with like the art book in it or something, but that's a lot. Something that's better though is the movie Promare, which is by Studio Trigger. I'm seeing a DVD here for $13.59. Like, hey, that's pretty good.
I would do that.
Or the Blu-ray for $16.90. It's like, that's a decent price, honestly. Like, if I really like that movie, I've seen it. It's good. But if I really wanted that movie, that's a good price. A lot of that.
I feel like.
Go ahead.
I feel like if it's over $30, it's overpriced in my eyes.
It depends how much is on it. Like, if it's like 50 episodes or $30, like, yeah, it's a decent price. Or maybe even lower. Like, if I could get like all of Evangelion plus End of Evangelion on one or two discs for like $30, I'd be like, yeah, it's decent. That's like, what, 30 episodes of an anime plus a full-length movie for like $30? That's good. But a lot of it comes down to, I think, import prices, because the market's still kind of small. Because like...
Or not even that. What if it was like, you can get the DVDs are expensive, but you can buy the files? Like, you can just buy it.
Yeah,
they're yours.
Like, that's one thing I wish the industry went more on, is being able to buy files. Like, it's not the same as a DVD, but being able to like physically own it would be nice. Like, for example, I have Amazon, and through Amazon Video, I bought the files for Cowboy Bebop, all of it for $10 on sale, and I have that, and it's like, wow, I have the whole show. I can watch it whenever I want, download it, put on whatever I want. Great idea. Personally, I would pay $10 to download like all the anime that I like. Like, I'd get Mob, Evangelion, Gurren Lagann. I wouldn't buy it once, of course. But like being able to physically own that, even if it's just a file, makes me feel better. Maybe that's not a big consumer thing. Like maybe we're different, there, you know?
Well, here's the thing. Like, there's two ways this comes handy. I feel like the reason there's not a lot of people like you and I is just because you have access to the internet pretty constantly. So it's like, well, if I can download a file pretty easily, then why would I need to, actually own it when I have stable enough internet access to stream it? That's the real main reason. I think the reason people like us like it is just because, one, if you're in a position where you just don't have stable internet connection, like I just presented right now, having downloaded files is really nice.
Yeah. And like I just like it because like we have hurricanes here in Florida, and we were out of power for like days.
Oof,
but I have my laptop, which is already charged. If I could just plug my portable hard drive here with like anime on it and just watch it for a few days, it'd be nice. Honestly, like it'd be something to do while I couldn't get onto a streaming service or whatever.
I think if you have what I would love if I can find a way to buy it is a solar generator with or a solar power generator for
I had one of those a while back. It was this little tiny one, like maybe like this big, like two of my hands together, but it was real thin. And you would just put it up against like a windowsill, and after like an hour, it would have enough power to fill up like a phone battery. So if you put it out,
a car for what, like your for your phone or for your laptop?
For my phone. My laptop would probably take maybe like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But I don't remember. I got it from my dad. I don't even know where it went. But I used that a lot during the hurricane a few years back, just to keep my phone alive. And it was nice because it was renewable, and I didn't have to rely on JEA or anything. I was like self-sufficient, which was nice.
You didn't need to worry about like, I need to get more oil to charge my phone.
Yeah, yeah. It was real nice, and like that brings me on a side tangent of like, I was thinking about this, like, why don't we have separate districts of power, like different power generation, like JEA here in Jax. It runs the whole city, and like I know there were some areas after the hurricane that still had power, but that's because their power lines didn't go down. It's like it gets into the thing I was talking about last time about like resilient systems, like. We have to expect natural disasters like hurricanes because we live in Florida. Like if you're in California, you have to expect earthquakes and fires. If you're in the Midwest, it's tornadoes, so on and so forth. But like we should build around that. We should build like either hurricane-resistant infrastructure, which is more low to the ground, because power lines are so easily knocked over by winds that it just doesn't really work here, and it's probably not as cost efficient. But I would say you'll probably save more in the long run because it's going to cost more setting up these like lower power lines. Compared to when you have to spend a week out there with crews setting up them all up again. But
I do agree. I think what Floridians need to push for is definitely resiliency, because we live in a very precarious region in a very precarious time in terms of the climate and just weather conditions. So I would wish that we would have, leaders and more people that were fighting for it. I think this is actually one of the things I'm going to try to focus on in the future, just because what resiliency means is that not so much that, we're the people who are not, working hard enough shouldn't be expected to be taken care of. Resiliency means that whenever you get knocked down as a community, whether you have the means to do so yourself or not, it means that the actual effects of a disaster or weather just don't screw up your system as bad. You can bounce back faster. That's the thing. I feel like the reason that it's kind of like this is because one is planned obsolescence. Like I feel like in some way it's like, hey, we make money by having these disasters somehow, and also the lack of ability for. I think just because of how elections and just how power is set up in America, it's really hard to do actual long-term.
Short term, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do long-term planning because your whole election cycle is 4 years of focusing on trying to, get as much stuff done and then hoping to get reelected and then do that all over again before you get kicked out for good. I hate to say this, but I will give the Chinese one thing, which I'm having some conflicts. is that the one benefit of having like your party just be like, or even actually not even China, let's say Singapore, because they have the same thing. They have multiple parties, but they have one party that does everything else. So they have a party that thinks about 20 to 35 or even 50-year plans. Even though they live in a democracy, one party controls like 93% of the vote. That is like, okay, guys, so they don't have to worry about like elections really, because we're probably going to get voted anyway. Let's focus on long-term infrastructure. Like, how should we focus on our roads and our power grid in the next 30 to 50 years?
Yeah,
that is huge. I feel like what America has a problem, unlike civilization, where I can be the god tier leader who just have full control. I can just say, yeah, we're gonna focus on wheat production for the next couple of centuries and millennia. And it just works.
Those workers over there, they're gonna be building a road for about 300 years.
Belt and Roll Initiative finished 300 years. You can do that when you just have that control, but the problem with democracy is that not only do you have to focus in short term, you're fighting with other people who are in competing interests.
It's like there's like 5 different people in a room, and there's one computer playing Civ, and like every few minutes, one of them comes up and just knocks the other off the chair and just takes over, and they have no idea what the previous person was doing, and they start doing something completely different. Then someone else comes up and just knocks them out the chair, and the cycle repeats. And so the first person who's knocked out is like, why the fuck are we at war with like India right now? What happened to my wheat fields? Why are they irradiated? What happened? And then the other person comes up and knocks them out of the chair again. It just keeps going. And like,
if we're lucky, they're paying attention to each other and they're actually planning.
But really watching, But but if this is like really America, whenever the other person's doing something good, they just put their blinders on. But the second they have one flaw, they have like magnifying glasses out. It's like, so this is what you're doing wrong. I'll show you next time. It's like, oh, you're building wheat fields? Well, you should have really been building lumber camps. Well, I'm gonna burn down all the wheat fields and build forests over them. And it's like, but sir, what about our like trade and infrastructure? Won't that mess it up? I do not give a fuck. And then the guy gets his forest done. And the next guy comes in and goes, these forests are really good because I can burn them down, and then we can get like,
more farmland.
Like more farmland, which will help us go to war with India, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then the guy starts
the war. Well, we're at war with India. Should we be friends of India?
Why are we at war with India? We should be trying to capitalize on science right now. Well, I guess we could learn science through like discovering nuclear bombs. Which would help in the war. So double-edged sword there. Let me nuke India.
Or better yet, you try to be friends with one nation who's like one player didn't like the whole game, but the other one's like, I'm going to be friends with Britain because they give us like
bipolar relationship. It's like, hello, yes, hello, trusted ally. 2 seconds later, fuck you and your entire family. I'll put you in the ground. 2 seconds later, oh, I'm sorry about that. Would you like to sign a trade agreement?
America's a bipolar. It's a bipolar, roided guy.
I mean, I have to give it to autocratic governments. They do have the ability to look forwards because they don't have to worry about being elected. But they're also inherently unethical and authoritative.
I feel like my problem with them, or at least my one big thing, is I think trying to actually discuss this. Like, the biggest problem is just corruption, which I guess Xi Jinping in his way is doing that. I remember when I was reading up, is like his one of his things was, I'm going to cut down the corruption in the CCP. And in my eyes, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that's like. Maybe it's corruption, really. Maybe it's political rivals. Who knows? But probably realistically, it's just a little bit of both. I think that's it's the one thing that this has taught me this whole pandemic. After learning, I have gone from being just a liberal person, like just like average, like, okay, I think America needs to be changed and reformed. Now I just went from like that to like full on like, I think there's too many problems for us to reform our way out of this. But one of the things that has made me throughout this little journey is, hey, let's look around the world, even the people I don't even think I would like. Like, one thing that happened apparently in Cuba. Here's something that's interesting. All right, in Cuba, you would have whoever's running for your local elections, they can't do paid advertising. it's not allowed. What happens is that there's like a board that shows all the candidates with their faces, their policies, their names, and their phone numbers, how to get in contact with them, and then at a certain interval, you just go and vote them in, and they get in. But here's the funny thing: if you don't like what they're doing, and enough people in the county think that they're terrible, you can just vote that guy out before his term.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but
and
Cuba,
that
I wouldn't
means,
say is necessarily a very democratic nation. I mean, they had the Castros in for decades.
Oh, well, yeah. But I feel like, here's the thing. I was really trying to figure out, like, why would I feel different? The reason I think most of these, like, whenever socialists become authoritarian, or like all these like communist countries,
so you mean that
is because it's kind of like
anarchist to like Stalinist, like sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing I did not even think about, and this is happening in Bolivia, and Venezuela. Like, keep an eye out, because this is exactly the same thing. If you have basically two options, if you decide to become a socialist nation or any anarchist nation, you either become total like democratically elected and do everything like by democracy. But if you do that, the U.S. or the U.K. or some other capitalist power is going to come and say,
a coup of a socialist nation recently. I heard about that.
That's what happened in Bolivia. The U.S. sent forces, and then before that, they had a private army try to coup Venezuela. So what will happen is if you try to do democratic route, yeah, you look better to the international stage, but you just open yourself off to reactionaries who are funded by other governments who hate you for being socialists instead of capitalists, and they will use it to kill you or depose you from office until you become capitalist again. And if they don't do that, they will embargo you, so that way you can't trade with anyone else, and then you just end up poor, so that can breed out new reactions.
Yeah, essentially.
Like Cuba. That's the reason why Cuba. Now here's the thing: if you decide not to go out taking like that, you end up like Stalin. You end up like Cuba, where okay, fine, we're not going to go out like that. We're going to stand up for ourselves, and we're going to be a little bit more strict because we're not going to have the reactionaries pop up on us. So yeah, you look more strict. You go after dissidents more, and the international community who are capitalists are going to be like, "Oh no, look how they're going after the dissidents. This is authoritarian. This is corrupt," and they're going to get mad at you, and they're going to be like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa." But the thing is, if you didn't do that, they would have gone after you by deposing you anyway.
But you could also just have a capitalist socialist hybrid, like the Nordic model.
Now here's what's going on lately. Like, these socialist nations, like Vietnam and China, they basically understood, like, okay, we're not going to get, if our options are to, okay, we have to be a communist, like fully self economy where we don't trade with anyone else, we're screwed, because we're going to get embargoed like North Korea, and then we won't be able to make progress, and then we're all going to suffer. So
what I remember, China actually was on like embargo for a long time until I believe it was Nixon came over. But go ahead.
Yeah, you know why? Because of Deng Xiaoping. He was the guy who opened up China to the West to have market capitalism in certain areas of China.
But that was only after Mao died.
Yeah, Mao was okay. So what happened with Mao is that he was the full-on culture. The whole Cultural Revolution, economically sent them back, but. What it did is I got
a lot of people too. I don't like Mao.
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Like there's a lot of things that I can say. I think there were mistakes, and a lot of people agree with me. Like there were just a lot of things that they killed people. It was a lot of wasteful time, like poor stuff, poor management. But the thing that happens is that it got more people emboldened off of communism and socialism. So they got the people to get behind his ideas, even if they didn't go well. Deng Xiaoping is like, okay, I believe in these ideas, but in reality, we have to, prosper in order for us to spread these ideas out. Yeah, exactly. It's like you got to open up a bit. I think so that's why they liberalize. They give out certain freedoms, but they don't do all the way to the point where they lose their mission, or they, more or less just become weak to be deposed later. Like they don't want to end up like the USSR. Where they have like people coming in and ruin their stuff. What I feel like China and like these other countries are doing is, okay, we're going to try to balance this. We're not going to get deposed, but at the same time, we got to make enough money so that way they can't push us around. So it's a little bit of a balancing act.
I feel like straight communism like that doesn't really work personally, because like in a vacuum maybe, but even then I don't think humans are compatible with it. It's just our brains are wired for reward. They're wired for trying to seek ends to like when people do work, they do it because they want an end. They want a reward. It's very basic, like the Skinner box or whatever. Like a rat would keep pressing the button because it wanted the food. It wouldn't just press it for no reason. And I think communism, like your reward is just survival. It's just living. And it's like people want more than that. People want to put in the work to get money to go get cool things. And it's like, yeah, you might be able to evenly distribute these cool things, but I just don't think it would work necessarily. Like that's why I'm not really a full-blown socialist either, because I feel like that has some flaws as well. Like it sounds really, really good, and it sounds really like, it's democratic, it's, people are equal, we get rid of racism, sexism, all that sort of stuff, but I just don't feel like mankind can work that way, at least in the moment, with how the world works.
Oh yeah.
If there was no scarcity, or if the things that were scarce were so plentiful, then maybe, like, if we could solve hunger, like, if we create this superfood, this food that's really easy to grow, and, like, it takes up not that much space, and it feeds everyone really well, yeah, then we could probably start working towards something better. But right now, it's like we have so many people, so many mouths to feed, that I don't think it could really work. And that's why I think something like the, Nordic models, where you mix the two systems together, would be best, because, like, capitalism has brought a lot of people out of poverty these past 2 centuries. It's I believe it's helped. It's also hurt. I'm not trying to deny that. It's definitely hurt people, but it's better than feudalism. It's better than mercantilism. It's better than things that came before.
Oh
us.
yeah.
But I also feel like it does have flaws, which we talked about last time. And I feel like socialism has some good aspects that we could look at and try to implement into the current capitalist model, because I feel like the world won't change to socialism overnight. And for any socialists, or I don't really want to help them, but communists out there, I don't think you're going to get a revolution. I think you have to work slowly. You have to work through procedural change, and part of that is voting. I see a lot of people online who call themselves socialists that are saying that they're not going to vote in the U.S. election, and it's like, you really think like Trump is better than Joe Biden? I mean, because they're these big Bernie or whatever. And
I think, what's the funny thing? Okay, so here's what I understand. So an idea is where you can't really rely on the Democrats. Like, I remember it was like a Lenin quote, so I'm paraphrasing here. But basically the idea was that you can't rely on the Democrats whose whole interests are completely against yours, or they're more or less against yours. So you can't rely on them to actually bring out a revolution. So a lot of socialists are like, hey, why should I compromise my morals when I know they're not even really fighting for my interests? They're just another, liberal who's not going to really focus on the revolution or my progressive values. So in some way, they're like, hey, why vote for Biden? Because effectively, they're both Trump and Biden are liberals, so they're not going to really focus on our true goal. No, here's the thing. I'm not like against, for it, because the main thing I see is a pragmatic approach. You're not going to get the material conditions you would like to organize or do anything under Trump, because if you really wanted to do that, then you're better off with Biden, not because he's going to be better for you, he's going to help put in policy, but where I see is that Trump is more closer to the person who recognize these people and will actively seek out to eliminate them, so that way they don't even have a chance to pursue their ideals. That's what I say. If you're more progressive, you better vote for Biden, not because he's the right choice or he's a good person, or vote blue no matter who. But I'm just saying, in the material conditions you're in now, Trump might radicalize some people to become more left or right. It really depends on where they were originally. I think that's where Trump lands in. But you won't allow yourself a stable base for you to build off of that change that you have, or build off of that sentiment. So right now the only thing that Trump gives you is more base for the reactionaries, the people who are really on his side, to be like, yeah, I'm more emboldened. I want to go out and like take these people out, or make this my country, make it great again. But if you're a progressive, then you're screwed, because even if you wanted to build like a whole coalition or base, there's like 50 Republicans are out for your blood right now, and you don't even have a chance to feel safe. So that's where I see it. As for the whole like socialism won't work thing, I think my biggest issue with that is that where I see capitalism now is that it's entirely wasteful. And I'm looking at this as it's like sustainability, because I care about the environment. And I say this because I know we have like market incentives. Like, we believe the market will adjust, so that way when there's goods that are oversupplied in a system, the market will adjust to then cut the supply to meet the demand that's there, so that way the market's efficient and doesn't waste. Where I see the problem with it is how it does it, and on top of that, it doesn't always do it. Because for one, let's take the food. Like, remember how earlier this year when there was like a bunch of food that was overproduction, and we couldn't, we don't have people who can buy it because people are not going to restaurants.
Like farmers pouring all that milk, like
milk and food.
Of it.
Yeah. And in my eyes, I'm like, okay, now in a social society, what would happen is like, wow, we have so much food. Well, we have our neighbors and our people who are starving here. Let's just give them the food. But the reason you can't do that in capitalism is because, one, if you do that, you do two sins, which is A, giving away stuff for free, which is a sin right there. But the biggest reason that's a sin is because if you give away the stuff for free, you cost more money to distribute it. The costs are internalized onto you, so you have to pay to give free stuff. And on top of that, you still, even if you give away all your harvest because you have to, because it's going to spoil, then people are not going to buy spoiled goods. You on top of that have to make a new batch of lettuce or a new batch of milk and just hope that the market rebounds. And meanwhile, you're wasting all this food that you're dumping onto the ground, where it can't go to a person who needs it, because those costs to move it to people who actually need it the most can't be met, because that person who needs it is not valuable because they don't have money. That's essentially what it is. Like, they are a person who have demand, but they can't meet that demand because they can't afford it, or they can't not so much even afford it, but they can't get to that distribution effectively. And the reason that's an issue is because, at least in my eyes, with the ecological disaster that's approaching, it's kind of like these things that bother me, where unless you can directly step in and say, hey, we have all this wasted potential and energy, we need to reallocate it manually to make adjustments. That's my biggest reason why I'm more skeptical about capitalism now than ever before, at the very least.
Yeah, and that's a definite problems, I would say. That's why I talked about resilience earlier. I feel like it's a real flaw of, I'm being taught in class about all this, lean production stuff and all that. And I feel like it's a real flaw of that we haven't seen in a long time, because the last big flu was, 100 years ago, and capitalism that we know today really hadn't. It was in its like teenage years, it hadn't fully come into its own. And things were more resilient back then because things were smaller, Countries really they took things internally, like everything. The world wasn't as globalized.
So I think the benefit about that is that the actual costs of capitalism were internalized, and they weren't as disastrous because they were in small pockets. Like, you get these issues.
It was like little cells almost, but like it was like cells in a body. Like, some can die, the others will survive. But nowadays, it's like the countries are one big cell, and if you stab into it, you're hitting everybody. Well, before 100 years ago, if like a flu hit, like, I don't know, Orlando would get hit, and it might spread to a few nearby towns, and eventually might spread further, but little cells being hit compared to the whole nation. Like, and we can see that with the coronavirus. It started in one part of the country, and now it's spread everywhere because we're so connected. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think globalization, the connectivity of the world, is definitely a good thing. It just has its downsides, like everything.
I think this globalization is a problem just because, for one, we can't really control a lot of it. We don't have a lot of coordination, and on top of that, we're competing with each other instead of cooperating. Because, like, you know what happened, like, in the States when we're all, like, fighting? Like, the States were fighting just to get PPE, which sucks.
Like, literally bidding for it, trying to get, like, illegal planes coming because the government was confiscating it, yeah.
Yeah, and even if the government was, like, a little bit more hands-on about it, my issue with it is that when it happened, it was more about, not so much about who needs it, but it was about who can outbid the other state. Which means, yeah, richer and more prosperous states like California and New York, who were really hit bad because they have large population centers, they bought a lot of PPE. But the problem about that is that it's not always proportional. Just because they had a lot more people doesn't mean, the cases were severe. And even now, if you wanted to get, PPE or N95 masks, you can't get it because it's been held up in some other, like, factory in China. Or because now, even if you've been bought out and by the scalpers who are trying to profit off of you trying to get the stuff. And that's where it becomes the issue, where you have to compete instead of cooperate for goods. And where I see myself after this is that I don't think we can continue to compete unless we're all prosperous to begin with. Like, for social democracy, when you're talking about Norway, I don't inherently agree with all of it, but it's better than definitely a lot of countries right now. But one of the things that it understands is that if you don't have a healthy workforce that can, maintain themselves, people who can, take care, have, access to healthcare and have access to basic needs, and where they are guaranteed that, there's a lot more stability, and on top of that, it's just more efficient because instead of having everyone externalize the costs to private, corporations or to themselves at their own misfortune because they can't afford it, it goes towards, a government that ideally, I believe, I don't know much about, these Nordic countries, that they have more control over. They have a democratic say what things should happen. So really, it's the people who benefit and shape the system. My issue of, here's the reason I feel bad about, taxes here, is that even if I paid my taxes, I know that I can't control, or I really don't have a say in what that tax is going to go towards healthcare, if it's going to go towards better my roads or infrastructure, or if it goes towards another war to shoot up some brown person in Palestine. And that sucks because even though I have democracy, I don't have actual control or a say in what things happen. And the same thing I have in my workplace. I can't control what UCF or whatever, like FSU or UNF or any of the, even my high school, I can't control or have a say if I were to work for them, what should happen, which sucks because if I'm working, I'm giving away a third of my life towards these companies and these organizations. It would be really great and I think fair if I had a say in what's going on because they're profiting off of my labor. So if they're going to take money and extra value and pay me less than what I'm worth, it'd be nice if I had at least a say, like any stakeholder who just puts in money and they get to decide what happens, even though they don't, actually do the work. I think that's my real big issue is that capitalism doesn't really allow you to be democratic as much. And when you move away towards capitalism, or at the very least, when you move further left, you give people more common control. And I think what happens lately with these centrally planned economies, though they're not always great, is that you don't have actual control over what your elected official does or what your people say. I think that's my biggest issue is that with capitalism, I just don't have a lot more control over what my environment does. I just have to compete and survive, which some people might say is great. I think it screws up people's lives or it makes things harder than it should be.
It's just I definitely hear what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it. I just, it's never really, been done. I don't think any nation on earth really has what you're looking for, and you're right that people compete and survive, and a lot of people like that because that's how it's been for a long time. If you think back to our ancestors, they had to compete and survive out in nature to even, live, to not be eaten by lions, to find enough berries today to eat. And, human society is kind of grown out of that. Like if you want to find the how capitalism so like it was born, you have to go way back to the beginning of that first tribal system and in their hierarchies. Basic human villages would just be a collection of families, but then depending on the system, you'd have probably either the oldest person, maybe the strongest person, would rule. They'd be chief. And then from there it evolved eventually into the first kings, over in Egypt, and then feudal system and all that, and then it just humans were born, their first system was hierarchical. So breaking people out of a hierarchical mindset is really hard. I mean, you have it in you since
it's been beaten down into
the
you.
day you were born. Like everything is hierarchical. It's how it works. It's like a poor kid will understand that they're lower on the totem pole compared to the kids that go to the private school over there because they're richer kids, or like me and you. Like we're using free software right now, like a ton of free software, just talking with cheap microphones and webcams. Well, I bet someone else could come in here and get like 20,000 subscribers if they were just some trust fund kid, with a ton of just ad space and stuff. Because like we survive on word of mouth. Which, by the way, tell your friends about Tangent Podcast. Send them the link. It helps us. We don't earn any money off of this. It's just we enjoy doing it. Which another thing. If we had money, we could make money off of this because we could just go like, "Hey, YouTube, can I be a partner?" And they'd be like, "Do you have enough views?" I'm like, "Yeah, I bought some ad space and I got like 20,000 views on my first video." And it's like, "Okay, yeah, you're a partner now. You make money now." Well, us, it's like, "Hey, YouTube, can we have money?" And it's like, "You have like 200 views in total." No?
Yeah.
And it's like, but we're really putting our hearts into it. And it's like, as if that matters.
Right. Well, okay. Well, here's the thing, all right? Notice this. We're doing this for a reward, but it's not necessarily monetarily. Like, we're doing this because we like
the reward of just like, it makes me feel good doing this, like, really. I just like talking to you. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think here's the thing that we both realize. There's things that we do for rewards, and that's not bad. And we do things for together and cooperate and compete against things in nature. But what happens is that the money that controls our lives tends to get in the way of what we actually want to do. Sometimes it's a vehicle for what we want to do. Like having more money allows us to have better equipment, maybe hire a person to edit or give us tips on what to do. It can help achieve a lot of things. Where I see an issue is that it also prevents you from doing things you actually care about. Like if I could, I think I would, for one, if I had the money and I didn't have to worry about work and school, I'd just probably quit all of that, focus on this and just have fun with you.
Yeah.
And then focus on learning how to build an audience and do coding and online merchants and security.
Make the website
so that way this place even if
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's what I would do because
if I had infinite money, I would just drop out of school, all that, because that's just a means to an end to me. To me, I would get on a plane and just go see the world. That's what I want to do. And then when I get back, just write, just maybe write a book or just write something because it's what I enjoy doing. And of course keep doing the podcast with you because I'd love to be in Bangladesh and just be like, hey, reporting in for Bangladesh, here's how it is, here's how the people live. It'd be great because that's what I want to do in life. I just want to I want to see the world and I want to see the cultures because I want to write about it. I want to see it all. But the world of money and surviving and all that, it sucks because do I really want to be a businessman? Hey, it's fine, I guess, but if I didn't have to.
But I think what you kind of want is what I think you and I both realize about business. It's not so much we want to be in the business, we like the finance and stuff. I think it's what we like about it is that if you're in business, you get to control, how things are managed. You get to control how you use that time. That's really nice. I think that's an agency that most people don't get. If you go to a 9-to-5 job, you have to wake up at a time you don't really want to. You have to, work for some other schmuck, and at the end of the day, you get paid less than what you're really worth, which sucks. But when you own a business, you decide how much you're worth. You get to, work and actually toil for your own self, and you keep and decide what you do with that. Yeah, that's what I like about entrepreneurship, and I think that's pretty badass. And I think what the problem is that there's a lot of things people would do, and a lot of things that people would like to do, like get education, start a business, or focus on other things that actually matter to them instead of doing things that are just for the money. And I think that's what you and I both realized. Like, we would work. I don't think anyone would say like, "Oh, now that I have no money to worry about, I have no problem. I'm just gonna like do nothing and lay down on my bed and play
It's
video
so
games all
bored.
day."
Yeah, during summer vacation as a kid, I was like, I've been playing video games for 2 months. I'm so bored. I want to go back to school so I have some meaning in my life. You know, because people, like politicians often talk about how like, oh, if we gave people welfare. Like I heard this argument against universal basic income. It was like, if we gave people money, they just sit around and do nothing. It's like, do you talk to people?
That is not true.
Yeah, do you know human beings? It's like they'll get bored. They'll want to go do something, and that could be spending money. That could be going to a job. It just something that stimulates the economy. Because like even if you do nothing and you still get money, like say a person gets $1,000 a month and they spend all of it, they'd be spending on food, rent, electricity. It'd just be going straight from one source to another.
Yeah.
And like,
also, like, oh, I have extra money out. I'm gonna go to that restaurant I always wanted to and bring my boyfriend or girlfriend. And then, oh, guess what? That person who's working at the restaurant or who actually owns the restaurant and likes doing this, now they have more money and customers coming in. You know, I feel
back in the black. You know, they're not losing money anymore, which means they can improve their restaurant. Or it's like, oh, yeah. I have extra money this month. Cool. Maybe I'll like try to ask for a little bit less hours so I can spend time on my dream project and see if that gets me anywhere.
Or your kids, or your
kids and your marriage. You know, a lot of people throw that stuff away because they just don't have time for it because their jobs. You know.
Honestly, you know the funny thing is, the most profitable thing, like person to be in under capital is like you're like an educated young man, no kids, no girlfriend. You're just like a perfect worker. You have nothing else except for work.
It's me.
Like you're like in your face, like, oh,
worker drone.
Wow. Yeah, you're a perfect work drone. You would like if they could. It's like, wow, you have no commitments. We're gonna bleed you dry, and we'll get you paid, but we're gonna bleed you dry.
I mean, I've got commitments every other weekend for like D&D sessions, but otherwise I'm like.
That's gone now. You work overtime, but hey,
damn.
We'll pay you overtime half the time because wage staff. We're not gonna pay you for all of it.
Yeah, and then the other time, like when you complain, saying like, hey, isn't that illegal? It's like, yeah, complain about it. I dare you.
Yeah,
it's like,
try it.
What are you gonna do? Take me to court?
700 other people will take your job in a second.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. We'll go to court for about 2 years, and you'll earn nothing from it.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll lose money because you're not working for us. Oh, and if you try to work for someone else, oh, we're going to trash your name across every guy that we know.
20-page contract with non-competes, NDAs, and like everything in there. Oh, you didn't read it because I was looking at you the whole time and pressuring you not to? Too bad.
Yeah. That's really a sad problem to be in, you schmuck.
That's the world we live in right now, unfortunately. You know, in a perfect world, it wouldn't be like that, but Yeah.
I think what I see some hope out of socialism is if you didn't have. I think here's my thing. As someone who's been to like Nicaragua, I can tell you like firsthand, like because they're a socialist nation. One of the things I really appreciate, and actually, let me start with the things that were kind of like rough. For one, man, this is a good song.
It is a good song.
So like when I was with my host family, the housing was rough. Like the walls were made out of concrete, and the roof was made out of like an aluminum or like a foil, like a steel foil, kind of like a little shielder. Yeah. It was like a shantytown roof, but. Aside from that, and the roads were a bit rough too, like that. But aside from that, it was a mountain town, so mountains were amazing. You can climb, and it was just wow, like 10,000 steps. But on top of that, you have a market. You can go to events, and if I broke my ankle, there would be a doctor, and I was like, "Oh no, where's my health insurance?" Like health insurance? It's like what? It's like no, you just go to a doctor, and if you're sick, we'll just go get medicine. And it's like, you don't have to pay. It's like, I mean, there's a little fee, but you're good. I was like, what do you mean I'm good? This is like, I asked him one time, I was like, well, if I broke my leg right now, how much would that cost me? Ooh, like $70 or something like that.
For real?
Just like to get like the face.
That's the like base price just to see a goddamn doctor in the States, maybe more.
You know, getting the doctor was like the cheapest part. It was just more of like getting the actual things to help you like take care of yourself, like the, I don't know, the crutch and stuff. That would be like a little bit of money, but like, really it's like
pills or whatever.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, wow. Like, sure, like, they weren't rich because, for one, they were just blocked off from, like, the most of the world to, like, you know, sell and trade. They don't have that private economy. But even though not everyone was, like, really well off, I didn't feel like anyone was overtly suffering. And people were living life, like, in a way where they weren't so much worried about, oh, I'm going to make money this month or stuff like that. It was just more about focusing on, you know, the community. Is the community all right? Are our needs being met? Do we need to talk to our leaders? Like, and I think I learned a lot more because they had like a really, I don't know, they have a rich history in Nicaragua. And I felt, and here's the thing that made it really clear to me. I went to the Dominican Republic on this same trip, and it reminded me more of Panama, but the thing that really creeped me out, and I might have said this before on the podcast, is that I was with my host family, and then we went to one of their friends' house. And in the friend's house, we're having like a dinner. But at this dinner, there was this girl. And this girl, who looked very similar to like some of the like people in my school, like young girls in my school, like a young black girl from Haiti, was serving me stuff, like serving me food, cleaning my plate. And honestly, I was kind of really weirded out because it was like having a servant, and it was like a black girl, and I was like, wait, you know, I can take care of this myself. And it's like, no, it's okay, I'll take care of it. And in my eyes, I was trying to, when I was like looking at her, the other people realized like, oh yeah, she works for us. She comes, and I realized that she was from Haiti and she lives in Haiti. So what she'll do is that she'll travel to the Dominican Republic, work for them.
A thing on the Haitian Democratic Republic like relations there. Like the Democratic Republic like really hates Haiti. There was this thing, I believe it was like a few years ago, where like every person of Haitian descent, even if they were citizens, were like kicked out of the nation. Like they were expelled. And it was like, holy shit. And like they have these things, I believe it's a video from Vice. There's things up on the border where they trade with each other, but the Dominican Republic people get to come in first, set up their stalls, trade, and then hours later, only after like bribing the guards, the Haitians get to come in and sell their goods. And it's like, ooh, damn, that's bad. But you can get back to your point.
Yeah.
Tangent.
But I feel like that's my big issue though. It's like, why does that have to be this way? And on top of that, I had to think, what drives a girl to come over to the other side, like the island, to work for a person who's like the same age as me? Like, she was basically, she should have been in high school, like us, and just doing her thing like a normal high school girl.
Doing her homework, yeah.
But she should be doing her homework, but then she was working for them. And she might have been like maybe older. Maybe she was like 18, I don't know. But still, it's kind of like, why does this have to happen when I saw in Nicaragua, there wasn't anyone like serving or taking care of people like that. It was just more like, yeah, you took care of yourself like we do here, but everyone was kind of like, everyone got their basic needs met. They didn't have a lot, but they had their basic needs. And I think that's what I appreciated. And I feel like almost that if it was like, you know how in Norway, like they have their basic needs met. Now, I have to imagine if Nicaragua has access to the same market and had access to like trade and work with other nations,
like oil, like Norway does, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they would be, if not as wealthier, just because they already took care of their own. Now they can focus on producing for others so they can gain wealth. That's why I see is the reason that I'm a little bit more attracted to it.
I feel like a lot of this comes down to like people are inherently greedy. Like people would look at like two scales of the world. You have like a large chunk of poor people, a decent amount of middle class people, and like a very small few of rich people, but they have most of the wealth. And then you have a scale where like everyone's around the same. People a lot of times choose the first one because they're like, I want to be that rich guy. I want to have everything.
Yeah.
I want to have the power. I want to live a life of luxury where I never have to go to work again. And it's like, yeah, but you could also be poor. And like, oh, I won't be poor. That won't affect me. Well, they look at the second one and they go like, well, doesn't that make effectively everyone poor or like middle class? Like you can never be rich? That sucks. I want power. I want money. I want prestige. You know, all that. Because they want to be at the top of the hierarchy. And then they're like, hey, but what if the hierarchy is like horizontal? And people are like, okay, but like,
wasn't that?
But like, who's above though? And they're like, nobody. And it's like, but I want to be above. And then people just don't get it, you know?
I feel like hierarchies are kind of like. Let me tell you this. I don't think just because something is natural is inherently good, but I will say that hierarchies are natural phenomenon. It happens everywhere in nature.
Some species don't, but a lot do.
Well, the reason is just because it's mostly efficient for a lot of things. That's why. Like, it's really hard to get things decentralized and horizontal, like, scale, just because it requires a lot more collaboration. Like, for example, ants. I don't know much about ants, but I can tell you the basic parts. Is that they have their queen, and they have everyone else is pretty much like average.
And then they've got
now
classes,
aside from the queen,
they've got the queen at the top. Then they've got the princes, which are the mates of the queen. So they're like right below her. Then you've got soldiers who defend the colony. Then you've just got basic drones, and the drones are like the least useful and least cared about because they spawn in the hundreds. The queen at the top because there's only ever one per colony. Then there's the princes, which are like, there's a few of them, but they can be replaced if one dies, like, eventually. Soldiers, they die in droves, but they're more important. And then there's just the bottom class, which is all drones, because they just do all the menial labor to keep everyone else alive.
But that's the thing, well, I'll tell you this, their nature provides this pretty easily. And that's the thing. It's just like a template that works really...
Apes, like chimps. They work on like the big strong chimp, then the like lead female, and then the females, and then the males. It's like that's the hierarchy, and then it's just true of like almost all apes and a ton of other species as well.
But we can probably agree that the person at the bottom and the people just near the bottom are like, this is a bad deal, but I gotta do it if I want to live. That's pretty much, and I feel like that's exactly the same justification for how we live our lives. I'm not saying that. I feel like what maybe I want to be clear is that socialism isn't going to solve all the problems, but it's going to solve a lot of the problems we have now. Like, in terms of the climate action, if we all work together, we can actually get this easily done and fixable. I feel like that's where. But the problem about that is like the whole the tragedy of the commons.
Yep.
Where I feel like it's the same problem because. If all of us decide to, work together, but one person defects, then that person, is the de facto ruler of the commons, or at least has more of a gain, and like, everyone else suffers.
Under socialism, like, if there's not that many rules, it's like, okay, everyone has access to all resources. It's like some guy will go to the, gold mine, put up a fence around it and go, this is mine now. And it's like, but that goes against the rules. And he's like, yeah, and so what? What are you going to do, shoot me?
Now, you see, that's what anarchism would be. It would be like that's where it's like, oh, everyone does their own thing. That's the anarchist.
Listen, anarchism, at least, like, the devil, like, no government, no rules, just leads to warlords, and which leads to feudalism again. And that's why I don't support, like, ANCAPs or anything, because ANCAPs is just feudalism with, like, more steps.
ANCAPs are a different thing. ANCAPs are a different thing.
It leads to the same result.
Well, no,
okay,
yes. Here's what I noticed. ANCAPs are basically like the more reactionary side of the normal like ruling elite now, like the capitalists. They're just basically like, yeah, we want to decentralize everything, so that way we own the private resources.
We can have indentured servants again.
Yeah, no, they're not indentured servants. They decide to work under us under a contract. Yeah, they're employees.
I was watching a debate between Vosh and this like libertarian candidate for like president, and like he brought up to the candidate like, okay, you crash land on a island. Like, you and this one other guy survive. Everyone else is dead. And the other guy wakes up before you. He grabs all the supplies, all the coconuts on the island, all the food, hoards it for himself. You wake up. There's nothing on the island. You go up to the guy and go, "Hey, can I have some food?" He's like, "Okay, yeah, suck my dick right now." It's like, is that a voluntary choice? Can you say no? And the libertarian candidate was like, "Well, that's kind of a bad analogy." He's like, "Answer the question," because
the question.
This guy was like a volunteerist. He's like, he believes everything should be voluntary, and it's like, okay, how is that voluntary? Because that's how people live. It's like, okay, you're starving to death. It's like, do you want to work for like Mr. ANCAP over there, or do you want to die? How is that voluntary? And then the guy's well, couldn't you just go out in the ocean and try to find some fish? And
no, you're gonna die.
Like, you're gonna die to a shark or something.
Or you're gonna drown. That's basically it. It's like, okay, you're just gonna die with more steps.
Yeah. And it's like, ANCAPs are stupid, honestly.
But here's what I know. ANCOMs are basically like they're just communists or at least socialists, but their whole thing is basically, hey, they're a two-parter. One, we're going to question authority because they have to justify themselves before we give them that. And two, they're effectively like a vehicle for the communists to take power because you kind of need them to cause the ruckus and do the revolution in order for the communists to actually like, okay, thanks, comrade. Thanks for causing the revolution.
Now
you can join us now.
No, or you're done. Die. It's like,
that's the thing.
Oh, you support anarchism? Sorry, we're communists. It's time to support our democratic one-party rule. Die.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, here's the funny thing. I feel like what happens to that anarchist, like, comedy thing is that the same anarchists who are like, yeah, screw the government, which is like, they're just against government in all cases. There's like two different ones, not the ANCOMs, but they're just like against government or they just want freedom completely. The reason that scares off the communists is because they're basically can be the same thing as reactionaries who are trying to do that, but their whole goal is basically bring back capital and bring back hierarchy. So that's why it's like, okay, guy, look, we appreciated you when we needed you the most, but were you doing this because you just want to say screw authority and you want to join us so we can have like a horizontal economy and stuff? Or are you just doing this because you just want to destroy stuff or are you just friends with the people that we don't like? So really, there's a 2 out of 3 chance that you're against the person who's, holding the gun right now.
Still, as someone who, I don't know if I'm really left-wing or not, people would probably call me a liberal at this point, which I know is almost like a insult.
Yeah,
if you are in the left. It's like, okay, liberal. And I'm like, yeah, huh? Yeah. What do you want? But like, looking at the left, it's like, damn, you guys fight each other so damn much. It's like, looking at the right, it's like, yeah, there's some small differences, but they all work together. It's like the left is like over there like fucking shooting each other in the chest, like, while the right is like, yes, let's work together.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, it's like, I don't agree with your race realism. It's like, yeah, and I don't agree with you because you're just
yeah.
But it's like, hey, but we're all here screwing, like, we just don't care about minorities and we just want to make money, right? It's like, oh, of course, yeah. It's like, hey, that's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for.
It's like, okay, I'm an evangelical Christian, you're an ANCAP. We have differences, but we really are going towards the same goal. Let's go.
Yeah. And then I feel like what happens in the left is, I don't know why either. Maybe that's the one thing I'm really curious about. Because this, I think, is the reason why they suck.
On the right, you're going like we were talking about before with hierarchy. Like, it's all a hierarchy where, like, if you look at, like, almost all the right is going towards Trump because he's the big guy in power. And therefore, just, like, get in line, follow your orders, let's go. You can have your own ideas and such, but in the end, we're all just doing what the big man says.
The big papa wants.
While the left is often like, man, maybe we shouldn't have hierarchies. Therefore, it descends immediately into chaos with everyone just going like, you're slightly different than me? Oh, shit, I can't have that.
You're trying to oppress me, part of the anarchy. I feel like, I understand what you mean. It's kind of like, for a group that wants to remove hierarchy, it's really unfortunate whenever you need hierarchy to make actual change in a hierarchical system.
That's kind of like, I don't think anarchists will ever win. It's because, like, okay, how? How are you going to do that
No,
without setting up some sort of structure to take things down? Are you also going to simultaneously decide to walk out and burn down everything one day without coordinating?
I think anarchists are not so much like, you know, I think it is. Anarchism is not an end goal; it's a process. It's what I meant by I said anarchism is the continuing question of authority. It's basically more like a way of life that is actually like a goal. Like communist or socialist, you can actually say like, "Hey, we're trying to get somewhere." But anarchism, whole thing is like, "Hey, do we actually need this system? Do we even need this leader?" Because even if you took that to its logical conclusion of like, we don't have any, just work, you know, collectively by ourselves. The problem with that is that you still need some type of like hierarchy or order in order to get things done. You know, here's one thing about the BLM. All right, it's more of an anarchist movement. All right, because it is a race.
There's no real leaders. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the one thing that it does well, ladies and gentlemen. The reason it can't be killed so easily is because unlike the 60s and the 70s, where they actually had leaders like and they Martin set up. Yeah, and they had COINTELPRO to spy on them. They can't go after one person or organization completely and cut them down because there's just a bunch of people who are just fed up with it. So what are you gonna do? I mean, what the NSA and CIA. Hi, Keith. Hi, Jason.
Hi, I don't know. Steven.
Hi, Steven. This is state violence, but whatever. The problem with that is that if you have no leadership, you can't really coordinate well unless you have small leaders and pockets to actually work groups of people together. Like, yeah, anarchy is nice. You can start and work, but you're not going to get anywhere. And I feel like what makes Portland interesting is that it will continue to keep on going. It's like a fire that's going to keep on going because there's no end source of the fire. You can't just like find the thing that's causing it. It's just burning the whole place. But at the same time, there's no one like controlling how this fire is going. It's just everything's going on fire.
It's organic.
We don't. There's no end. It's not like an actual. You know what it is? The difference is like having a person who accidentally lights a match, like throwing a burnt like butt of a cigarette and just happens to light everything up, versus a actual
like setting
arsonist. Yeah. Like, yeah, you could kill the arsonist, but can you kill the person who accidentally dropped the butt of the cigarette that caused the fire? No, but now you have to deal with the fire.
Does it matter? Yeah.
Did it really matter? It's like, right now we have a fire to deal with. So yeah, I feel like that's the one thing about anarchism and BLM. You're gonna need structure. I feel like that's what the comms and the socialists do, is that they see the anarchist movement. It's like, hey guys, this is great what you're doing here. And let's see how we can actually channel this to actually make change. I feel like that's what their whole purpose is. Like, I remember when I was watching... Remember that YouTuber Greg, who starts with a G? Like, Greg? Like, I'll show it, actually. Let's see if I can pull him up.
Remember when we said we weren't going to talk about politics?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all, actually.
No, that never happened, no.
Yeah, it never happened.
So for almost 2 hours.
As you can see, have you seen this? Oh, it's almost 2 hours.
Oh, wow. J-Reg?
Yeah, J-Reg. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that guy. Like, I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not sometimes. Like, what's his real views? What's his fake views? Because, like, he'll say, like, Nazi shit. And it's like, and then he'll say like regular like liberal stuff, and it's like, okay, but what do you actually think?
I feel like J-Reg is basically he's like I think he's just a troll, man. I think that's it. He's not really for anything.
One thing I don't like, and this is more of a problem I have with the political compass thing, is it like it incentivizes extremists. And maybe that's the like centrist in me talking, but I don't like to have a platform where like Nazis can openly, and like ANCAPs and like anarchists and like Stalinists can all talk to each other. It's like, I don't know, that just doesn't fit within my, I guess, Overton window of politics. It's like, no, I don't want someone who thinks we should kill all black people to have a voice, but I don't want someone who thinks Stalin should have killed like more people in the same room as well. It's like, can you guys get out? Like, I don't want you here.
Yeah, I feel like okay. For one thing, I have a problem with the political compass is that actually let me close this down. So one thing I have a problem with the political compass is that it doesn't even really make sense in my eyes, because now I'm getting a bit meta. Is that the political compass? Like, you can have people on the very ends of it that just swapped over to other sides. And I think the reason it doesn't...
Is this horseshoe theory?
No. I mean, no, not horseshoe theory. I think that one's even more horseshoe.
Go ahead.
But it's like, you know how, like, what is the end goal of an ANCAP who's at the very end, like the bottom corner? Like, what happens to them? They're basically monarchists.
Even further beyond!
When you're, like, right at the bottom, like, you're right here, this is the center, right? And then you go all the way here. What's further, like, bottom than this, bottom right? You just end up at the top right.
Primitivism. That's what it is.
Yeah,
you know, shit like that. Wild shit.
And I take care of myself, but all these people are my subjects. Aren't you just a monarchist with just more rules? No, because...
Like I said, ANCAPs are feudal warlords with extra steps.
Yeah, but the only problem is they don't own anybody, or they're not admitting to it. That's the only thing.
I said, the man with the coconuts, what are you gonna do? Die or suck his dick? You do not have a choice.
You do not. And at the same time, like the communists at the very top right, who are like, we want a completely decentralized society where we have no hierarchy, everything. Wait a minute, isn't that just... Oh, that's right. It's the left libs, the left anarchists who are just completely decentralized. See, that's why I think the compass is like nice when you're at the center, but it is dumb. It doesn't make any sense. I think what makes more sense is you have one side, the ruling class, which is like a monarchist, capitalist, the feudal lord, the merchant, whatever. You basically have their side, and then you have people who are at the very bottom, and that's where you see the spectrum of what they believe should happen. But you can apply that to most things. It's like a ruler, okay? How should I describe it? So let's take your relationship as a student. All right, you are at the bottom. You do the work. You do the schoolwork, you turn in your assignment, you just accept where you are at. And then we have the teacher who decides what you do, what you get to study, what you even have the chance to do in your day. They have all the power. So really, it's a conflict between these two parties, where you want to just get out and learn something, but I don't want to deal with this person. This person here, controls what you learn, controls how you learn, and decides everything. At least here in public school, Maybe a better example would be like your boss at working at McDonald's. Actually, that would be a better example, honestly. But that's where I see it, where you have the people who are on the very far right who just want to control everybody else and want to have, this decision factor. And then at the very far left, you have the people who want no one controlling them, and they just want to have an equal share, and everyone gets to decide what they want to do instead of having to listen to one person over here.
But that doesn't make as many funny memes.
That's true. It doesn't. But what you can do. But here, what you can do actually. I'm even going to cancel your meme game. All right. What you can do is just make fun of the people that that are like controlling you. That's what you can do. You just like shoot them down while you're.
Class warfare memes. Holy shit.
Why not? Class warfare memes, man. Like, hey, like, man, this sucks. Why have to peddle out credit cards for like stuff I don't like here at Walmart when my boss gets to take over and make me do wage stuff, so I have to work overtime.
Laugh cry emoji.
Like, bro, she's like, haha. Like, my boss gets to do wage stuff. Why can't I do wage stuff? Goes into the cash register and just takes the money home. There you go.
Breathtaking new meme formats. This is a certified Big Chungus moment.
I have the wage stuff now.
Transitioning from that politics point that I swore we wouldn't get into this time, but we did.
But we did. This is a politics podcast. That's great.
I mean, we do talk about it quite a lot, especially because like our views are changing quite often. Like if you go back to our first few episodes, we were way different. I was a pretty good conservative, and he was just like a standard Democrat liberal. It was different back then.
COVID-19 knocked us the heck left. It just kicked us out the way.
2020 do be hit different
though. Could you imagine telling yourself a year ago what you believe now?
I'd be like, okay, listen, I believe in freedom, but what the fuck are you talking about?
Imagine.
Oh, fuck, my voice cracked so bad. I ain't one of those goddamn communists.
At the same time, I would be thinking to myself, like, okay, man, look, I like you and all, but...
Bro, when we said that we were going to stop talking about politics, we lost a viewer. They were here for that, and then they just like, nope, that's what I'm here for.
Wow, that's so sad.
Anyhow, transition.
That proves that we're a politics podcast. That's right.
Yeah. I want to talk about because we've been going for a little over 2 hours. Probably the last thing to talk about before I decide what song we're gonna sing at the end today. Well, first question: Do you care about copyright like at all?
I'm copyleft.
What does that mean?
It basically means I'm against copyright. Like in my eyes, copyright. I'm of the opinion where you basically the most I would really be okay with is attribution, because my problem with the copyright system is that you get to control what your art does, and that's nice. Like, you know, say I make the Pepe meme, you know, like I say I make Pepe art. In some way, copyright would be nice because then you can decide, hey, I don't like this, how it's being portrayed, but you don't really get to control how art is perceived or used after you. And I feel like attempts to try to control that is dumb. And on top of that, it doesn't make it easier for us to make new stuff. Because like, oh yeah, now you can't just steal my work. Like, yeah, that's fair.
Everything is built on the bones of previous works. Like everything just keeps building on top of each other. Like how sediment is formed. It's like sediment goes upon sediment all the way up until you have new stuff.
You know what I believe is a problem though? I think that you shouldn't be able to profit off of necessarily other people's work unless they actually said that you are allowed to do that. Or for example, like it should be assumed that there's a license. I think it's I can't remember. I think it's GPL3 license.
Also,
in software, basically
attribution code. This is Get Lucky by Daft Punk.
Sorry, yeah. But the idea is basically you can. Whenever I make this, you can use it all you want and modify it for your own means, but you can't sell it, or at the very least, you have to use the same. You have to give the same way I gave to you. Like if I gave it to you for free to modify and change how you want and make updates, you have to do it for someone else. That's where I think it's fair, because then they can't profit off of you. Like, oh well, thanks for making this book. I'm going to sell it now and not do anything. Maybe I'll just change the T to be a capital letter.
This? I made this. It's just that meme, yeah.
And then they make the money.
Yeah.
I think what would be fine is if that same person said, you made this, I made this. But people will be like, no, you didn't. He did. He just gave it to you for free. Why would you follow the guy who just said that?
Yeah.
Instead, you would go to the guy and say, hey, thanks for giving this for free. Can I add this to your thing? Or this would be a really nice thing to change or to bring in. That's what's cool, you know? That's what I feel about copyright. Like, if, for example, One Punch Man, all right? Since I can't now buy it without buying a DVD. Or this song, Get Lucky.
I actually own this song, and I wish I could use it legally, because I own it on a CD disc over there, But legally, we'd probably get in trouble if we were playing this any louder, because it'd be like, oh, you're playing the full song.
Yeah, because I feel like what will be nice is that if you buy the song, you have the right to play it, and do stuff like that. But you're not allowed.
Works, yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that, because it's okay, fine. But even then, I just feels like, well, dude, everyone knows you're the one who made this song. And I feel like it's fair that I paid for the song and, I get to play it wherever I want. I think that's fair. But I understand if you're making money off of it, it's like, hey, man, I only gave this song to you because you paid me. But I feel like once you pay for it, you should be able to play it. Maybe the money part is a little bit more of where I'm a bit, ambivalent.
That's the legal definitions they can get to. But one thing I think we both agree on. is like the modern copyright system where you have it for like 90 years is fucked. It's like I think it should be at most maybe 10 years. Like that's decent. Like you make your stuff, but like I know. I'm trying to reform the system. I'm not trying to do a revolution right now. I'm a liberal. Okay, God, stay with me here. What's it called? It's like like I don't think stuff from like most Queen songs. They're pretty old now. Like I should be able to play like Killer Queen, and just use it how I want because it's so old. Like Freddie Mercury's dead. Who gives a fuck? But like. This song, Get Lucky, came out in what, like 2012? So it'd have like a few more years of just being like still owned collectively by Daft Punk. But after that, it's like, okay, it's common media now, go ahead. And it's like
that would be great.
The common media we have is stuff from like the 20s. It's like
because they just stopped it there.
Yeah. Because like, well, it's mostly Disney, honestly. Fuck Disney. Fuck Disney's copyright system. They're the reason things are so bad. Fucking Mickey Mouse, bastard, holding back the creative world so he can get more money out of it. Anyhow, were you trying to do a Mickey Mouse impression?
Oh, Goofy!
Hey, Goofy! Let's make capitalism worse, huh?
I haven't forgotten off.
We're both so fucking bad at it. It sounds like SpongeBob trying to do a Mickey Mouse impression.
Copyrighted. It's like you're trying to impersonate our trademark. Get 'em voice.
Yeah, okay, quick tangent, and then we're getting on the next point. The fucking Happy Birthday song is copyrighted. Like, if you sing it and upload it and gets enough views, you're gonna get fucking striked, and they're like, pay me $500, that's our song. It's like, when'd you make it? $18.99. And it's like, whoa! It's entered the like cultural landscape. It shouldn't be owned anymore.
I feel like this is my biggest problem. It's like you should be able to own it for like at best, like you should be able to sell it, but you shouldn't be able to say like, oh yeah, you can't play this song. I think that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, yeah, you can like, oh man, this is nice. I wish I could like play this song anywhere I go.
Instead of having if you just like on this one site or whatever, where I have to go on.
It would be nice. Okay, you know what? I'd be totally okay if, like, you have to buy the song or do that, but you're allowed to play it as long as you attribute who made the song. That I'm totally fine with. I'm okay with that because then it'd be like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just like play the song and then later at the end of it, it's like, hey, this is the song list and everything I did, guys. Blah, blah, blah,
this is who made it. Make sure to read through it if you like any of them, and then I probably just do a speed reading of like. Get Lucky by Daft Punk, Vitamin C by Vitamin C, like all that, so just real fast, just attribute it all. Yeah. Cause it's like
that way you're like legally protected.
Making these playlists, like it hurts so much not to just put like Gorillaz like in shit on here, cause like I love that band, but I'm just like afraid they'd see us at 8 views and go like copyright strike, die, and it's like, but I just played your music quietly. I really love you, please.
It's that sad cat meme who's just like, no.
The cat who's crying. He's like, oh, yeah. Anyhow, moving point. I wanted, for our final thing, I want to talk about our D&D games, which we've been running. I think we talked about it a little bit here on the podcast. But I want to talk about more like my sort of way how I do it, because I don't think I've talked about it with anyone besides my brother. Like, how I do it is, like, first, I'm usually just bored. Usually I think of my best ideas when I'm delirious and, like, half awake at, like, 2:30 in the morning. When I'm, like, at the computer, like, watching some video about, like, the economics of, like, Brazil, and I'm barely awake playing, like, RimWorld or something, and I'm just like, wouldn't this be a cool idea? But like, yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. It's like, what if we have 3 guys, they all have the exact same hat and like the almost exact same name, but they're actually like satanic eldritch monster beings. And they're just joke characters. They're not even fucking important. And it's like,
they're not even important.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny just to put this incredibly thing in front of them and then do nothing with it because it's not important? Wouldn't that be hilarious? And my adult brain just goes, yeah, that's funny. Or like, wouldn't it be funny? Listen, I just spoiled you. Shut up.
I was so convinced.
You see, I got him. And then you wouldn't think about the actual foreshadowing I'm doing. It's 4D chess. I give you this like red herring to follow, and while you guys are chasing, I'm in the back putting the foreshadowing and groundwork for the real big bad.
What?
Well,
Oh my goodness! I've been thinking about that. I was like, what is under the hat? I was thinking about
you'll never know. I'll never let you know. You will be permanently unsatisfied. And I think it's funny. I know. and then, you know, I'll just be like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, we had this new system where it was like a board game, kinda? And then I'll just compile all those thoughts from weeks of just random stuff, and you're like one Word document, which is like the ramblings of a fucking madman. And then the next day I'll be like, what was I thinking? And I'm like, oh yeah, that. And then how I do it is if I go and pull up my recent plan for our first game in the Japanese or whatever, I'll show you my full plan for that. My full fucking plan. Wait, no, that's the newspaper, which I came up with like on the spot. I didn't even think about it beforehand. Where is it? Oh no, the music ended. Fuck.
Oh, I got something. Yeah.
No, I don't want my class notes. There it is. Okay, so if I screen share with you and then put OBS over here, here's the full notes for the first game. Literally, just the beginning right here.
Whoa.
What happens at every building, along with the joke of how that runs. A little bit of how things are going to work later in the month, and that's it. All the other shit we did, like you'll notice, for like the farm, nothing about his hat is mentioned here because I thought about that a few hours after this when I was trying to go to sleep, and I just implanted that into the story. And also him like kidnapping the scribe and doing like the satanic blood ritual, all improv. Or
that was improv?
Almost everything I do is improv. I am an improv actor at this point. Or like, you remember that one bit about how the like pirate guy stole his like brother's bow and used it as a like fishing pole? Improv. I thought of it as I was doing it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, or like, remember that thing of how you had to play charades with the Lord? I thought, I literally put in my notes, play a game
that one
with
I thought
them.
was improv.
It's literally called, like, play a game with them for a troop. Think of something. And then I just get to that, I'm like, fuck, okay, liar's dice or charades. We do charades, and then I drop a plot-relevant, like, point in there randomly. It's like, remember the thing about the, like, gray waves or whatever? Yeah!
I did not know why.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but because I already know a little bit about where I want the story to go in that regard, I just dropped that foreshadowing bit there because I could. And then you'll notice most of my work goes into this. Can you see this? The soundtrack? Look at this shit. Look how much work. This isn't even complete, mind you. This is my like stage 1 effort.
Dude, this is like these. I'm looking at the largest OST.
No, and I make multiple. Like here, let me go.
The funny thing is that you make multiple that you don't even use.
Like here's for Sorcery, like the one we're going through, part 3. By the way, each part has its own soundtrack. Like each for the Serpent, all your character themes for every single place, all events, all combat. This is 4 pages long, and there must be at least like 100 some songs here. This took me like 3 hours to make, but like. Honestly, I think of the scenes through the music. Like that's my process. Like let me bring the thing back to me, so it can show us over here. Full screen. Stop screen sharing. Like I'll sit there. Like remember how before the recent Japanese game I sent you your like theme or whatever for your character. That theme made me write your character's story. When I sent you your backstory, I was listening to that. I was listening to that and trying to understand the emotions of the music and what it made me feel and what it made me think. and through that I wrote down your backstory and story, and then it's just a reflection of the music. That's why during D&D I'll always have music for every single scene, because music is my storytelling. Like, for example,
Wow.
let me go grab it real quick. You'll recognize the song because it was the perfect song for that moment. Sorry. Let me put it on the jukebox. Get your loaf crap over here.
What?
Sorry.
Crap.
I'm changing it.
I'm gonna put Death Grips then.
If you remember this song from when we fought the Archmage, is it playing? Yes.
Yeah, I
Rivers
hear
in
it.
the Desert. This song I thought of for that scene because like you guys had gone through this whole time traveling thing, and you're laid up against a boss with like 6k health, and it's like, okay, you're fucked. But this song is supposed to be like, when I listen to it, I'm thinking like it's this band of like, you know, nobodies trying to rise up against this like overpowered being, and it's like, oh shit, this is like our last chance. Where we're literally trying to like get water out of sand right now. It's like impossible.
I mean, really.
Yeah, and it's like you guys doing like I get literally chills. You can see it on my arm just thinking about it because the scene in my imagination was so cool. Like you guys all around, like a Sam, like with his hundreds of clones all running around with their crossbows, or Jacob flying through the sky with his stones, slamming and throwing it, and you there just like shots after shots in your sword gun or whatever. Amazing scene. But I improv that fight. I literally had it in the script, like, yeah, they're gonna lose after like one turn, and then in the soundtrack, I had your defeat theme, and there was a whole timeline where you guys get defeated, sent back to the past, and then you have to go over the bridge, like looking at the burned land behind you, and it's whole melancholy music and everything. But you guys just fucking showed me up and were like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna change destiny. We're gonna defy fate. We are going to rebel against the writer himself. And it's like, oh, fuck. And like that's such
We're fighting against you.
Yeah, literally, because I am every boss, and I did my best to kill you guys. Like you guys. Literally, you guys are beating him up. He's like, okay, I'm gonna call the Arcane Serpent. Arcane Serpent gets there. He's like, let's bring the sun closer to the earth to kill everyone. And it's like, and I'm like, you guys have one turn to kill him. He's on 2k health. You guys just roll like 18s, 19s, 20s. I'm like, fuck, they're gonna kill him. And then the final scene where you all put your power, you go to 0.1 health, you put it in your blade, and you go, revolution! And then you just shoot this fucking, like, omega laser at him, and he disintegrates. Such a great scene. And, like, all that was improv, and it's so much more fun that way for me, because I don't even know what the fuck's coming sometimes. Like, I have an idea, but it's like you guys are there, sometimes, like, I'll be writing, and you guys will just come up, grab a pencil, and just scribble out whatever I was doing and put something else in. Like, in that same game, remember when you guys came to the camp of the Sand Serpent? And I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, you guys probably shouldn't go in there. You should wait to get some supplies. And then Sam and Jacob were like,
yeah,
let's just disguise and go in and assassinate him. I'm like, guys, it's heavily fortified. How are you going to do it? And I'm like, well, I cast an illusion on myself, and he can turn into anyone. And then we'll just use an illusion on Ejon, but he can't talk. So let's make him like a priest, and we're guards. And I'm like, oh my god, they're actually thinking this through. And I'm like, well, I guess it could work. And you guys roll, it works. You get in, and then you somehow fucking get your way in as doctors in to treat the Sand Serpent, and then you're just like, okay, stab him in the chest.
Murder.
And you don't instantly kill him because you get like a 10. And I'm like, okay, you have one turn before he bursts on you to fight the whole camp. And then it's just like, okay, fireball to the face, die. And I'm like, you've defeated one of the 13 great serpents. It was supposed to be this whole big fight. I had music for it and everything. You guys didn't get to hear it. You just like, dead. And it's like, it's so great because it's almost like a choose your own adventure. It's like I have this whole thing set up, and it really makes me feel great because like you guys are thinking about like you're immersing yourself in the world, like you're there with me, and you guys think like how could we actually do this? And it's like hearing like for example, one of my other games, I'm gonna go grab the end music I used for that game It was my vampire game that I had with Jacob and Sam. What's it called? Unfortunately we had to end it we couldn't end it by playing it because one of our previous members quit. So we couldn't play without her because she was one of the characters, and I didn't want to play her character because it was literally the final chapter, right before the end boss. We go through the whole game. We get there, and I write it up, and if I can find it, I'll show it on screen. There it is. How many pages did this come out to? I think it was 20-some pages. Yeah, here it is. I wrote this up. It's the end of that D&D game campaign. If we go through it, there's chapters here. I wrote it like a short story. And, I'm describing it like the boarded up hovel you call a hideout is nothing short of a desiccated and ruined. The walls are held together by bug corpses more than wood. The floor's mud brick has returned to a mostly muddy substance mixed with the sand from the outside to create a half-dried slurry. And, it took me like a good day to write this. It's 21 pages in total. And it's single-spaced, of course, like Times New Roman 12.
Yeah.
And, this part was so great. I loved writing this, but like all the final chapter of resolution.
No
give you're literally everyone died. Literally everyone's dead. The whole world's gone. You lost. It's like the main villain won, and you're just this soul in the afterlife, and he has control of that too. And it's let me get the music that plays there because it's so good. It's from Paper Mario, actually. No, don't play.
Yeah.
Add. Huh? Oh, this is the extended version. 1 second. It's that. Can I get a shortened version?
Yeah, you got it right there.
Yeah, right there. Right there. And go. There we go. Let me play that real quick. So, you're in this, endless void of nothingness. This song's playing, and it's nothing. You are nowhere. It's just, this black haze. There is no hope. Give up. And this is the main villain talking. And, this music you're hearing, I imagine, he's that shrill voice talking, and then all the voices you hear, just around you in your left and right ear are the other souls of humanity. Just all dead, just swirling around you. It's like an analogy you want to look like. Remember Full Metal Alchemist when we saw inside of Greed's head and there was Ling there?
Right.
It would be like that, just hundreds of souls just flying by. And he says, accept it, you are lost. Why are you still here? Give in to the nothingness. Can you hear them? The voices of those who are here. They too will give in with time. There's nothing left to hold on to here. You will never go back. You try to speak, yet I will not let you. And then eventually, these supposed to represent time passing. And it's stop it, give in already. And then just one word. And this is, there's three main characters here. This from the perspective of all of them. They just go, no. And they say, you said there were others here. And it's yeah, but you cannot reach them. All of humanity is here. You are dead. And they say, I'll beat you. How you are in a world of absolute power, absolute darkness, absolute light. Because by this point, the main villain had gained control of where was I? Of everything. They had control of the soul. They achieved Godhead, which is gaining a divine body, a divine mind, and a divine soul. They'd become God at that point. This is a JRPG now.
Yeah,
and
it's like Final Fantasy.
They trick the main villain, and they say you are no master of the light of mankind. He's yes, look what I am. I just tore a tear in the fabric of reality with my powers of light, and it's oh, thanks for letting me out, because they were in this little seal of darkness and they got let out, and then the next scene starts with this soundtrack called "The Power of Humanity." And because this all goes into my themes for the game, which is if we all work together, we can create something better. No, stop. Sorry, I'm gonna go over your music again because go ahead. I'm too passionate about all this. Oh, he put it in twice because he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And it's like, this starts playing, I played it a second earlier, but it's like, it's this whole scene where every single human, like, you can hear them talking. It's like the souls all around them call out, we need to defeat him, I want to go home, I want to see my baby, only I can kill me, I need a stiff drink, I had a date tonight, I want to be a real hero. It's like all these thousands of people all calling out for their unified will to take down this one guy, to like save themselves and the whole world. And it's like, I know it's probably a little cliche, honestly, but I enjoyed creating it so much. And like Sam, because I sent it to Sam and Jacob because they were the ones who were left, who played the game, and like the ending is bittersweet. You know, after they defeat the big bad, all of mankind is cleared of his corruption, except right before he dies, he throws his corruption into the you know, soul vortex, and it sticks into it. And the trio of main characters absorb that into their own souls. So mankind is freed of his corruption, except they aren't. And they understand that if they stay near each other, because they each got one part of the Godhead. One got an ultimate body, one got an ultimate mind, one got the ultimate soul. If they stayed near each other, he would use that power to resurrect himself and just do it all again. So they all have to go their separate ways forever and never see each other again. You know, they've been best friends through this entire journey, and now they have to say goodbye forever. Like, they can never see each other, and it's very bittersweet. And, you know, it ends with the line, follow your heart, because that's the line I've been using for the whole story. And that's one of the final lines in the entire thing, is that they have to, you know, follow their heart and do what's right, even if it hurts. And they really, here, I'll go back to us now. Stop screen sharing. Go back to Discord. You know, I got a message from Sam after that, and he was like, that was amazing. Like, it really spoke to me on a personal level, and it made him cry. Like, and that's not a bad thing. Like, but to hear that it emotionally impacts people like that, my writing, which I don't think is amazing. I think it's decent, you know.
Hey man, you say that, but
like, to hear that it does that for people makes me so happy, but also like, man, I have such high expectations for myself now. You know, like, I want every story to do that for people, for the people who read it or the people who participate in it. Like, I want it to be something that they think about. And like, a while back, you were talking about how that scene earlier with like revolution and all that, about changing fate and defining all that. You talked to me about how that impacted you a little bit. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'll just let you speak about it.
Like, I feel like what revolution taught me was that it made me realize two things. One, that change is not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be good or bad. And I feel like revolution taught me that even when it's most hopeless, it's by being relentless and just continuing to say, like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to continue onward. I don't care if the odds are bad. I'm just going to do it because this is what I want to do. That's when you can actually change things. When you just, like, I'm not giving up, even though it seems really easy to. I feel like that's what changed it, because for the longest, and even still now, I'm battling this tendency where I was like, you know what, it'd be so easy just to leave everyone back. Like, I'm not going to deal with this. Just, hodl into some little cave and just not bother with the world and just wait for it to just collapse. But part of me is like, dude, do you really want to go out like that? Is that really what you want? It's like, no, it isn't. All right. I hate it. This is gonna suck. It's like, I know it's gonna suck. But I don't think people are gonna believe me. It's like, most of them won't. But it's like, but what else do you got to do? You have to try.
There might be a few at least. You know, you can change something.
Yeah.
Even if it's small. You know, like, I think about that quite a lot. Like, yeah, I'm just one human. Like, I really can't do too much. But like, me doing something. Like, I think about this often with kindness. You know, if I'm kind to people, if I show them empathy, you know, even if I don't like them too much, you know, if I can try to relate to them and help them in some way, then maybe they'll do that to someone else, and then maybe that'll go on and on and on, and maybe I can start, you know, a domino that'll lead to something in the end. You know, I can't do too much, but with the little power that I have in my life, I can at least try. You know, it's very easy to give up, and especially a few years ago when I really, hated my life and all that and wanted to give up, I still clung to that little bit of hope I had, the little bit of light I had that I could change things somewhat, somehow, some way. And, writing like stories like that, it's what I'm trying to spread to people. Trying to show them that nothing in this life is for certain. You, in the end, really, in large part, get to decide your own life. There's parts you can't change. You can't change how you're born. You can't change, where you are when you're born. You can't change your family. But your actions, you have a choice in a lot of that.
Definitely. I mean, it's pretty much the only thing we can't control, honestly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I write D&D. It's like an improv comedy show. Especially when I make you all come out and do a Parappa the Rappa song where you all
that was fun.
Jump, kick, and pose and all that. Yeah. If anyone's wondering, it was the first level, the first game with Master the Master Onion guy, who I just stole and called Master O'Neon for my game. He runs the training dojo. Listen, kids, listen. Plagiarism is an integral part of creativity. Okay, at least for me.
It really is. You just plagiarize from different sources that people think is acceptable. That's it.
If you
That's the only reason why.
From like enough sources, then people won't be able to figure out where you've gotten it from.
Big brain. Just plagiarize all the things. Then you will never get caught.
Well, we've been going for about 2.5 hours. So you want to start wrapping up? Or you got something to say?
No, honestly, I think I'm ready to go. And with this song, like as the outro,
I want to
pretty
sing
good.
again though.
You want to sing?
What should I sing though? I've got You want something like depressing or like upbeat?
I want to flip a coin.
Oh, he's deciding the move.
All right, tails, depressing, heads, uplifting. Heads.
Oh, uplifting. Okay, I'll sing Lifelike because we were playing it earlier, and I like the song. So let me turn it up a little bit.
Listen to Death Grips.
I've never listened. They sound pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's called The Money Store. I love this album. I use this for like when I'm working out.
Pretty decent, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I'm out of water. Well. Alright.
Alright, Lifelike.
Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a path, still a name. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Light your soul and reawaken the undying light. I can't hit high notes.
I don't know any of the lyrics. This is good.
On that day, when the sky fell away, our world came to an end. In our eyes, an invading sunrise in the dark, glimmering shadows, silence grows, and the spaces between, stretching out beyond time, rising up in a chorus of soul signs of voice, glimmering through the void. These little sparks cling on to life. Everyone caught in the struggle. Your humming is so loud. Arms are changing, fan the flames, scattering ashes to the wind. Your soul contains a whisper of light, growing vacant. I forgot like the sides. No escape, no greater fate to be made. In the end, the chains of time will not break. Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a path still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light.
Wow, it's off the register.
I know. The shattered glass on they spins, a thread without end. New life draws its first breath. Blossoming in a soil reclaimed from the past, where destiny holds fast. He's where we stand, hand clenched in hand. Everyone caught in the struggle, lived in this day. We finally find a way, stepping into our tomorrow. Every soul contains a whisper of light, growing louder as it calls to unite. Turn to distance, sings a chorus of souls, floating slowly, serving heat from the coals. Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a past still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your skies, you on your way to the ultimate fight.
So this is nice and all, but can we play some real Smash Bros. Music?
Oh,
I should think. Souls rising slowly, taking from the cold.
Colors weave into a spire
To the spire of flame, distant calls onto the past so unnamed.
Bear this torch against the cold of the
night. Light will guide you on your way to the ultimate fight.
What are you talking about? This is real Smash Bros. Music.
No, hold on a second, man. Let's get some real Smash Bros. Music. Wait. Oh no, I'm not admin.
Oh, I can just delete it at will.
No.
Yeah, you logged out of your account somehow. How did you manage to do that?
I don't even know.
What is this? This better be good.
Anyway.
Yeah, but this... I don't know how to speak whatever language that is.
Don't worry, man. Adipama.
Bro, looks so weird now. Look at that Donkey Kong. It probably sounds so fucking terrible. Some like Gregorian monk chants next time at this rate. Like, oh man, no. How long is this song? It feels like eternity.
Okay, that's it. That's all the lyrics.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Tangent Podcast. Hope to see you next time for the sing-along. Next time, I will probably be singing either Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town or Beneath the Mask. One of the two. Maybe we can set up a poll on the YouTube page and no one will vote in to see which one. Who knows? Or maybe not, because we'll probably get lazy. But,
okay. Well, everyone, thank you. It was nice hanging around. I hope you enjoy this night.
Wait.
The day.
One last thing before we stop. One sec, I'm gonna grab it. Where is it? I just want to play 2 notes of this, and then I want to stop the recording. Come on, work.